Welcome back, everybody. It is that time. Hey, Cat Mama. It's that time of night where we get together. We gather around the. What did we say he was? He's not the. He's not the goat man. He's sheep squatch. We gather around the sheep squatch. It's hard to say, and we tell spooky stories. Everybody, get your blankets and your marshmallows and set a bonfire right in the middle of your living room floor, and we will get this show on the road and get some ghost stories cranking for the night. How's everybody doing, by the way? Did you guys have a good weekend? All hell sheep squatch. Maybe we need a background like that. We need a all hell sheep squatch. Hey, Midnight. Hey, Werewolf. Hey, Melissa. Um, I I have two on my phone. Um, I just did this one for no apparent reason. It doesn't seem like we get a whole lot of glitch stories anyway, which is kind of weird. But hey, Raven. Everybody tap the screen, send some likes. More likes means more people, means more stories. You saw a yak ghost? I find that hard to believe, but maybe you did. I don't know. Who am I to say? Hello from Kentucky. Well, hello from Kentucky also, because that's where I'm at as well. Guest box is open, guys. If anybody wants to come up and share a story, everybody tap screen, send some hearts, share the live. If you have friends who like paranormal stories, or maybe they have a paranormal story, feel free to come up and talk about it. We always want your spookiest of spooky stories. It could be paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, glitch in the matrix. I'm going to add a couple more because I'd really like to get some witchcraft and occult stories. Let's see here.
I got witchcraft stories.
And welcome.
I got witchcraft, all that, and you won't believe, but it's cool. All right, so I have a way of seeing through things, I guess, like the veil. Then I took this picture, and because I seen something, and I was like, "Aha, I see you." Mistake. Anyways, uh, it was of a shapeshifter. It's like I don't know how do you explain this. All right, in the photo, I ended up catching that because I seen it, but there's this. It was kind of halfway between a man and maybe a coyote or something shape-shifting. Next to it was, okay, there was this box. And in that box, there was like a bunch of souls. Yeah, you'll have to work with me on this. And right next to that was a witch with a big head. And she's looking down at this box. And what she does, she's like an interdimensional. So she's like looking at like food, because they get their food from souls. That's where people get the whole soul in your soul thing. And then actually, I'm not gonna get any deeper with that part. But the mistake was that I ended up getting a video of it, and they're right in front of my house, and they all different shapes, colors, this, that. Like these beings standing in front of my house, but the weirdest part though is this dark black. I mean, it's dark black, like like a lair or whatever, come out of the backwoods. I mean, it just like pushes through it, and there's like a tower, and there's these different I don't know, black figures coming out, face this and that, and there's a blue one in this big black tower, and there's this like androgynous looking thing, more female, definitely not human. Strange face, but very female like in body, but making an obvious sign of what it had. I've seen this thing many times. I've seen her floating at the end of well, I'm in the forest, just so you know, deep in the forest, just north of you guys, right across the river, and in the foothills of the Appalachians, Shawnee Forest. I can back up everything I'm saying. I've got recordings of everything, but like people think witches are like, you can just become a witch, or it's not Hollywood, you know what I mean? It's like they're interdimensional, and they shapeshift. I've seen them shapeshift into many things. I've even seen them like shapeshift in like Bigfoots and Dogman and this that. The what gives them all away though is in a picture. If you zoom in on them, you get a picture of it. You zoom in and you go and you hit like the pop and contrast. You'll see bunches of faces all over their bodies, and all those faces, it's like magic, right? And like with the cloaking on the lower dimensional beings, they also have like UFOs, but it's a cross between like technology and magic, which powers them. But anyways, in their cloaking power, or whatever it is they do, I can tell you what they do. I've seen what they do, but they have these weird sex orgies around like a ship, and it christens it, but it also deals with
Okay, just try to watch your language a little bit because we have to kind of like,
man.
for TikTok purposes.
Right. But the cloaking on it though has a bunch of faces on it, dark faces. So if you see, a lot of people don't really look, anyways. But if you see like you zoom out and you see a bunch of faces, something looks like faces, that's usually like a cloaking in the ships. So I think the whole story with why you get witches on brooms actually has to do with like what I was saying, the like the ships, they're like saucers, but they like cloaking stuff. I can go into it way more, but I'd be here all night, and I already know the people are like, okay, but I can prove it all, like as far as photos and videos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There's
we usually just do like a story, like a paranormal experience or like an extraterrestrial experience. So, do you have like a specific story that you want to share?
Oh, I've been abducted by the mantids. Um, dude, I got stories, like I said. Uh, I, I'll be here all night with it, but I'll give you a real quick one. Um, they ended up taking me, and I went through a portal. Okay, I ended up in a forest somewhere, but the forest still had like water, green, and or it had water, of course, but it was still green. And there was through this forest area was a circle, and on the other side was a white room, and I'm in that white room. And I had this like hose hooked up into me in my lower back, and coming out of me and going into this triangular device. And out of that triangular device come another hose, and it was going into a mantid. And the the tube that come out was actually like, okay, you ever seen insect legs in their joints? It kind of looked like an insect leg with joints. Now on the hip of the mantis, you know what I mean, is like a fitting, but and on the end of that tube was like a shut off valve, and like where it hooks to them, and they open it up. I don't know if they were taking something out of me or putting something in me. That's just what I remember. But I was in the on the one side in the white room, the like medical or something. I don't know what it was, and they were like on the other side in the swamp area. Now in that room, there was a little girl. I don't know, 10 years old. There was another woman in there, a grown woman, and there was another being that looked similar to I don't really know. I mean, it's humanoid, but a bigger head. It definitely wasn't from this dimension, or here, maybe somewhere else in the galaxy. That I actually have. I can get into it. I ain't gonna get into all that. But yeah, I had one of those experiences. I've had a lot of them. There's a lot of that going on actually. But anyways, that's enough. Figure share it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so spooky stories. If anybody has any, feel free to jump in the box. Everybody's asking where Chris is at. I have no idea. I think he got abducted by aliens. Um, Not a clue. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like TikTok is a little bit slow tonight. It seems like there's not much activity going on right now. You guys send some hearts, and hopefully, we'll get some people in here, get some good spooky stories, paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, glitch in the matrix stories, any type of weird experience that you've had. Oh, the Oscars. Yes, that is tonight, isn't it? Is it still going on right now? Because that would probably be why. Um, yeah. um, Guest box is open. If anybody wants to come up and share a story, it's off. Ghost, what's so funny? See if you have enough followers. I'll invite you up. You can come up here. Oh, no, you don't have enough followers. Hopefully we get some interesting stuff tonight. I have 3 videos that I filmed that I was going to try to have one up by this evening, and I didn't get it posted in time, unfortunately. You would, but there's no box. Let me see. See if I can invite you. Oh, yeah, you got to have at least 200 followers. So if you have at least 200, feel free to join the guest box. Need Chief to chime in. Yeah, I don't know where Chief is right now. I saw him live earlier, but I don't know. Mr. Wilson. It says, yeah. Yeah, you have enough. You should be able to join. Oh, I look for the little pink and blue person down at the bottom. That's probably why. It's weird. It's like when someone comes up, the box changes, like the guest request thing, but otherwise it's going to be like little pink and blue person. Hey, Chris, you're fired
Yeah, I know. When did you start?
at 11:05, I think.
Oh man, yeah, I'm fired.
Holly fired you already, so yeah.
Man, Holly hates me. What did I do to her?
Holly's the boss around here. That's just, that's just how it goes.
Oh, yeah, she made herself the CEO.
Holly is the manager. So from now on, when people come up and want to speak to the manager, I'm sending them to Holly.
Sounds good.
All right, we got a person. Mr. Wilson. That makes me think of Dennis the Menace. Mr. Wilson. Hello and welcome.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Are you driving?
I am, so I assume you won't talk to me because of that.
I'm sorry, you can't be up here. You will get me bananaed. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wilson. Whenever you're off the road, come back. You're welcome to come back, but you can't come up here if you're driving. That's TikTok's rules, not mine. But I would also suggest that you don't play with your phone while you're driving. You got to go. No driving, guys. Got to be safe around here. Hello and welcome.
Hello. How you doing?
How you? Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You got a spooky story for us?
I'm just curious what you think about the Jersey Devil.
I don't have a lot of opinions on the Jersey Devil myself. We did have someone come on and tell us a story about the Jersey Devil a while back. That's the first time I've heard it mentioned since probably the 90s. So,
Oh no. Okay.
is that all? Did you see one?
Yeah, I'm just curious. No, you can move on to someone else. I'm just curious.
Alrighty.
That's all.
Alrighty. Chris, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I don't know. I was doing something on my phone and then I accidentally left. Sorry, guys, I'm getting situated.
I feel bad for kicking that one guy, but man, come on. We can't have that. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Got a spooky story for us?
This just happened to me last night. My daughter's in the hospital. She got bit on the face by a dog. So I'm in the hospital with her. And I go outside, and all the doors are locked, so you have to go back to the emergency room. And the way this hospital is, you got to go all the way around to the old building from the new building. Well, these two nurses walk out of the emergency room, and we have the mirrors up there, like the ball mirrors. Well, they're walking, they pass me. I look up. I only see one person, and there was two. I only see one in the mirror.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And they turned around and they asked me what was wrong, and I was like, "Oh, I thought I seen a spider." I wasn't gonna tell them that I think one of the girls is a vampire or something. Oh no,
I would have. I'd have been like, why don't you have a reflection?
I was like, but she knew. That girl knew the blonde, because there was brown head. She was real tall, and the short one was blonde, and she's the one that I didn't see. But she
That's
knew why I
insane.
said, "Oh my god!" Yeah, like I was, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Well, they turned back around, and I looked up. I booked it around the corner, and I booked it. And I'm a big girl, and man, I was out of breath by the time I got to the elevators. It freaked
Holy
me out
cow,
last night.
that's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, I was freaked out. I'd never think in my life I would see something like that.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
was,
I don't even.
I don't even know either. It's trippy to me. It freaks me out still thinking about it. So I don't know. I just know I
Yeah,
was out of
that's.
breath. I'm from I'm from Indiana too, so
Yeah, I'm from Kentucky, so not too far apart.
yeah,
That's crazy though. Like
yeah.
I've never heard a story like that at all. I've never heard
I,
anybody have an experience like that.
I would never think it would happen to me, but it did. I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god!" I stayed in my room. I locked the door. I mean, the nurse had a knock on the door and everything. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It must have locked." I did
Wow.
not go back outside. So
That's
yeah, I
crazy.
just want to tell you that story. So
Well, I appreciate it. I'm gonna be thinking about that one all night.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks. I saw someone in the comments is like, how often do you go live? I do Sunday and Monday nights usually, and then I like to think that I'll get another day in randomly through the week, just kind of spur of the moment stream. But sometimes I don't. But for sure, Sunday and Monday nights. And if anybody wants to come up and share a story, the guest box is open. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get some people in here. Um, did we have somebody? Did I overlook? No. Okay, we're good. Yeah, that's crazy. I've never experienced anything like that of seeing someone that doesn't have a reflection. Of course, you think they're a vampire immediately, but truth be told, I am a vampire. Yeah. They tore the Gary, Indiana Demon House down. I usually go live at about 11 p.m. So, and that's Eastern time because I'm in Kentucky. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is it the dude from Ghost Harassers or whatever had bought it? Sugar. My
Oh my
bird's
gosh.
screaming.
Sounded like a dinosaur.
He is a dinosaur, yeah. Oh, you're from Pike County. Very cool. I know all about Pike County. Spent a lot of time there actually. I like to make fun of Ghost Adventurers names. Sometimes I call them Ghost Harassers. Sometimes I call them far worse things. So I don't know. Words I can't say on TikTok. All right, we got a person.
What's up, Joe?
Hello and
Guys,
welcome.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you a little story real quick. I'm actually the one that asked about when you guys go live. I was just wondering. So, man, it's been about close to 10 years back when I was married. We had just moved into this house, and it was empty for like 5 years before we moved in there. The previous owners were actually the only owners of this house, and they passed away when they were in their 90s. And their kids had the house and they were just kind of keeping it, and they finally decided to sell it to us because my ex, she knew the family really well. And so we moved into the house, and it was like man, I don't know, 2, 3 days I was there, and I felt the bed go down, like somebody sat down in the bed. And I initially thought it was my dog. I had a big boxer at the time, and I sat up. I was gonna be like, get off the bed, because he knew he wasn't supposed to be on the bed, and there was nobody there. And then maybe a few days later, I felt it again, and I sat up again. I was gonna be like, get off this bed. And nobody was there. And my family, they were all in the kitchen making breakfast. It was a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. So I walk over there, and I just go in the kitchen and I just say, hey, this house is haunted. And right away, I have 3 kids, and they were like, oh, yeah, it is. It totally is. They started telling me stuff we hadn't even been there 2 weeks, and they had already experienced stuff from hearing footsteps to seeing a flash to seeing figures in the house. It was a pretty cool place. It was nothing like evil or anything that had like ill intent. I think they were just trying to let us know that they were still there. Um, but one day I was sitting on the edge of the bed. I was getting ready for work. I went to work like early in the morning, and it was like 6 o'clock. It was like 6 in the morning, and I felt someone poke me in the ribs. You know how like you're joking around with people and they jab you in the ribs, or you kind of jab them in the ribs. It was that exact same sensation. I mean, like I got poked in the ribs, like, hey, get off the bed, get ready for work or something. That was just like the impression that I got. And then another time, we were having some remodeling done on the hallway and the master bath, and my cousins were going to do all the remodeling. They came on a Wednesday night. I don't know, there was maybe 4 or 5 of them, and we're in the kitchen and we're kind of talking about it. And my cousin Manuel he's standing across the kitchen from me, and he keeps looking down at his arm. And he looks to his right to one of my other cousins, like, dude, what are you doing to me? And my other cousin, his name was Alex, he's like, dude, I'm standing way over here. I'm not nowhere near you. So Manuel's talking again. He's going over the game plan. And he looks down at his arm again, and he walks across the kitchen, and he grabs my arm, and he squeezes my arm really tight. He goes, dude, this is what it feels like. It feels like someone's grabbing my arm. And so right away, me and my family start telling him about everything we've been experiencing there at the house. And so he goes back and he's talking to us. He's like in the corner of the kitchen so he can see everybody to make sure no one else is grabbing him. And he still keeps feeling someone grab his arm. So the next morning he comes in and start working on the house. And when he comes in, he comes right up to me and goes, hey man, look. And he picks his arm up, and he's got these 4 finger bruises on his arm from where like someone was squeezing his arm. And again, I don't think it was anything bad or, that, evil, like, that I think that gets thrown around too much. I just think they were like, hey, don't mess with our house, and they knew he was going to be the guy in charge. But then it was a pretty cool.
Oh, you muted yourself.
There at that house.
You cut out for just a second.
Hey, can you hear me?
You cut out for just a second.
Okay.
You cut out for just a second.
All right, well,
Oh my gosh.
It's like
Can you hear me now?
Inception.
Oh my gosh.
It's like Inception. I'm gonna drop you. You can come right back if you want.
Whoa,
I
that
hate
was
when that
crazy.
happens. Yeah, that happens a lot. That's like partially a glitch and partially like maybe if the person doesn't have on earbuds. But yeah, Joe, you can come back up if you want. Sometimes if you reconnect, it'll stop doing that. That's really cool though about like the house. And I'm glad to hear Joe say that like he didn't immediately assume that it was something evil because like I know lots of people feel that way with the paranormal and with good reason because it's creepy and it's unnerving, but it's not always bad. Like sometimes it could just be cool and interesting and it's just something different. So I always like to tell people, you don't have to be afraid of the paranormal. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean that it's bad necessarily. Okay, Joe, no problem. We appreciate you coming up, though. I don't know what is going on with my bird. It's like, I feel like where it's spring, he's kind of like, it's just really like that, I don't know. Doing pretty good, Captain Williams. I remember talking to you one time before. Are you still investigating like locations and stuff? I'm pretty sure that was you. I think we're mutuals too. He is Cat Mama. That's exactly what it is. I think yeah, like he it's the season for bird love apparently. I don't know. Um all right, guest box is open, guys, if anybody wants to come up and share a spooky story. Oh boy, let's see. What what a name. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. I see the topics you're talking about. I'm a big fan of the mystery and lore, when it comes to paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Um Now for me, I only had one experience, something paranormal that had happened to me about 3 years ago. See, my grandpa, he passed away um from that, the COVID thing at that time. And see, he would always like to smoke cigarettes in the restroom, right? For some apparent reason. But there was one time that I went to the restroom and I saw the same where he would sit at, the same shadow figure with the cigarette on the wall. So I don't know if a lot of people say those are like the shadow people, but all I know is that that's all I saw, and I freaked out, and I ended up tripping over something when I was running out the restroom, because I don't know what that was. It was him, but in a shadow figure on the wall. It was really
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
That's really interesting and weird. Yeah. It's did it move or anything or was it just still?
No, it was just still. It was just still. But I remember because he would always say, "Hey, pass me my cigar," at that time, and I would always give it to him. And I remember one time it was like, "Man, give me my damn toilet paper," and he was still sitting on the toilet, just but with the pants on, and he had his cigarette in his mouth, and that's all I remember. And then now when I was in the restaurant at the time, like, what the heck is that? Like that shadow? It's not me. And it was the same, like the way he sit with the cigarette in his mouth, like smoking it. I don't
Wow.
know. It was strange, and I thought it was dreamy, but no, it was real life. I thought it was a dream, but I don't know. It was weird. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain that. I don't know. I do believe a lot of people do say when it comes to shadow people, a lot of people say that it's a sign or form or way to show that they're still there with you, somehow. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't want to give it like evil vibes, or like or a bad vibe. I just rather let him rest in peace, and just let it be. But
Yeah.
yeah. So far that's all I really have experienced myself. Now, when it comes to paranormal, I love to study it. I love to research it. I love watching those videos. Not too much at night, I have to admit. Not too much at night. But I mean, I know a lot of people talk about aliens, all that stuff. What's your take on it? Do you believe that's real, the extraterrestrial stuff, or
Yeah, actually, I definitely believe that there are extraterrestrials. I think it would be absurd to think that there are no extraterrestrials, just because there's so much out there. So somewheres there has to be life, and probably more advanced life than us, or maybe maybe they're in their caveman stage. Who knows?
right,
But definitely think that there are aliens. As far as other things go, I'm on the fence a lot about a lot of stuff.
right, right.
But I've had a lot of paranormal experiences and a lot of things that I don't really know how to explain. So, but I don't know what it is. I mean, I think, like I
Yeah, yeah.
always say here, that the paranormal is real, but I have no idea what it is. And I don't think anybody
Right.
knows.
Is there,
So,
is there is there something like a conspiracy or mystery that you're eager to find out the truth on, or like you know?
um, when it comes to conspiracies, I don't really like, I don't have anything to do with those because they're usually easily debunked.
Right.
Um, as far as like mysteries and stuff, I guess probably anything involving like UFO cases, stuff like that is interesting to me. But we're so limited as to what we can kind of uncover as far as past cases go. It's like, how do
Right.
we really look into that? How do we really learn any more about these cases?
So do
So
you believe in demons and all that, ghosts, evil spirits, and all that?
no, I do not believe in demons. I spent a decade as a ghost hunter looking for demons and looking for proof of evil or good and never found any, but I found a whole lot of paranormal entities, but I don't know what those things are. I personally, I don't think that they're evil. We have lots of people come up here and say that their experience gave them a feeling of like something malevolent or malicious or
Like
evil in
Satan,
some
right,
way.
or the devil? Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about it is like anything that we don't understand like that, we're probably going to perceive as negative. Um, but I'm not afraid of it, so I don't perceive it as negative. So I think that's the difference in me and a lot of people, especially people who haven't had many paranormal experiences. I don't immediately think that it's evil. But yeah, I definitely don't believe in demons.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering because I know paranormal has to do a lot with the meaning of ghosts, like spirits, and in other words, demons, something that we can't see, but is there, like a negative energy. But like I said, I know a lot of people play the Ouija board or whatever. I don't know what's your take on that, or they do the witchcraft or magic spells. You know, I don't know if you do you think that all of that's nonsense or you think that's true or
I have used a lot of divination tools. I've tried a Ouija board a time or two and didn't really have an experience. I think tarot cards, I frequently read my own tarot cards, and I feel like it's a way to connect to my subconscious mind and basically just my higher self. I definitely don't think that there's anything paranormal about it. Like, I don't think there are any ghosts or anything involved. I think that it's all, my subconscious mind. But it's still helpful in a weird way, if that makes sense. I personally, I have been in the occult for many, many years, and I love it, and I love witchcraft and stuff like that. But as far as like truly believing that there's something behind all of it, I think that the power of our mind has more to do with a lot of this stuff than what we might realize, you know.
right, right. So,
But I
so
realize not a lot of people believe that
yeah, yeah.
as the explanation. So
And I think one thing that plays out is a lot like in Hollywood, like The Exorcist, like scary movies. I guess a lot of that plays out where people think, paranormal has to do with Satan, the devil, like evil spirits or stuff like that. But like I said, I mean, I know most of those are just actors, or Hollywood. But okay, yeah, I just wanted to spread my story out there, and I just wanted to I know I followed you a couple weeks ago because I like seeing your content. But
yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
And one quick question before I go: what's that creature behind you on the one? Is that
This
cryptid
is
or is that the
yeah, it's a cryptid
Krampus?
creature for a
Krampus,
while.
Krampus.
Yeah, I was like, for a while I was like, this is like our goat man from Pope Lick, because Kentucky has a story about a goat man. But then I got to thinking the other day, I was like, he's more of a sheep squatch, really, if you look at the details. So now we're calling him sheep squatch. So
Or Bigfoot? Bigfoot. I mean, Bigfoot.
yeah, but he's got the horns,
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
little bit like a sheep squatch.
Yeah, I know we live in a mysterious world, so that's the fun part. We get to experience, and hopefully, maybe in the future, we might see stuff that we just never seen before. So,
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, hopefully.
yeah. Hey,
Well,
but
we
yeah, yeah,
appreciate you.
yes, you have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Um, what is your name? Ethel? No, I thought your name was Ethel. Eddie? Eddie W. How do you believe in witchcraft and not demons? Because there's no such thing as demons. I don't know. I don't believe in witchcraft per se. I love witchcraft. I think it's awesome, and I like to read about it. And I like when people are witches. I think that they're fascinating people. But do I think that witchcraft works? Only through the will of your own mind. I think it's more so about like the law of attraction. People don't realize how strong our minds are. Like we have power that we don't realize because of just brain power. And so that's what I think ultimately is behind witchcraft, which then subsequently makes it more solid ground than a lot of other beliefs, because there is some science behind it, in an indirect way. uh, yeah, well, and the thing is, Eddie, every culture has stuff like this because humans have always been trying to explain what happens after we cross over, cross on, whatever. We've been trying to explain that. That's just part of our nature, is because it's hard to think that this is all there is, and then we go poof, and that's it. So it makes life a little more interesting to think that there's um, something else coming. But then that belief in of itself has become troublesome and problematic. Chris, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say it's interesting that guy going back to that guy's story because I've always wondered if shadow people are like regular people ghosts or if they're their own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was saying that the shadow person he saw was apparently his grandpa. So I think that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it's like it's one of those things that we'll just never know the answer to because science will never have the money to study the paranormal, because they need money to study like more important things like diseases and stuff. So,
Right.
um, but I don't know who was next. We're gonna go with Jason because Jason has a username and a picture, and the other one doesn't. Hello and welcome.
Oh, thank you. Um, so I just wanted to poke in quick. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences over the years, but the one to me that stands out as probably the most unexplainable was I used to be a general manager of a restaurant, and there was just a rainy summer night. It was just me and the bartender, and this old guy comes walking in, and he's really slowly walking in. And he's drenched. He's got like this. What kind of made it weird was like the classic yellow raincoat. And he came walking up to the back of the restaurant to me and he asks me if I've seen his dog. Now, this restaurant was attached to like an outdoor mall. So it wasn't uncommon for people to walk around the mall or have a dog with them or something. So I said to him, "No, I haven't seen any dog." And he just kind of walks right past me and goes to our restroom. Now we're closing in like 15 minutes. And so I was just kind of sitting there watching the TVs, and 15 minutes goes by and this guy hasn't come out. So it got to the point where like I cut the nighttime bartender. I'm the last person in there. So I go in the bathroom to look. This guy was not in there. I come out. There's clearly the way the restaurant's set up, there was no way for him to come in. I always was curious to check the cameras and see, and that's like the last every avenue I've checked, but my district manager at the time wasn't really buying the whole thing and didn't really like say it was a reason enough to get the camera footage. But I mean, of all like to see a full-bodied person come in physically wet, like from being outside, it seemed very strange to me that, you know, there are shadow people, yeah, the shadow demon thing, but have seeing a full-bodied something and knowing that there's no way out of that restaurant, that there's no way, like, I mean, Bundy wouldn't be able to get his way out of there. So for one that's really undescribable to me, that's one that I'd like to share.
Yeah, that is stuff like that's really spooky. I've had some instances like that personally, and it's just like, whoa, what in the world?
Well, yeah, you see, like, you drive by the cemeteries and you think you see the shadow in the distance, or, the shadow being thing is really interesting too, because
Yeah,
those, like, tying in, I think those have always to me seemed more malevolent in nature. They seem more like sneaky and more distraction, as opposed to the ones that almost seem full-bodied, like they're just even unaware of their
yeah,
current status, like they're just kind of trapped. I don't know. There's really no explanation for that. But the
I
nature
agree.
of the beings, though, yeah, the nature of shadow beings is what makes them so mysterious.
Definitely. Well, we appreciate you sharing that. Did you have any others you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean that's because other ones get very like, but there was one of a haunted road that's not too far away. I'm in southeast Wisconsin, like not too far from Milwaukee, so we're one of the most chock full of, paranormal, roads and cryptozoological creatures and whatnot, So there's a lot of stuff going on paranormally, but there's one road that's known as Paradise Road, and you used to not be able to go there because cops were just the block was always hot, but it seems like they've kind of like died out over the years. And one thing about Paradise Road is there's supposed to be some rumor about, I think way back in the day, like a little quick history fact is there were a lot of big uh, satanic and rituals and stuff like that in Wisconsin. Walworth County and Jefferson County were two of the most like just prevalent, and they had so much like satanic rituals going on in the woods, and the FBI got involved because there were actually like high law officials and sheriffs and lawyers and such like coming from around the world that were partaking in some of these ceremonies right here in Wisconsin. And I
Hmm.
found out a lot about it reading into the Beast of Bray Road, which is one of our cryptozoological. Linda Godfrey helped shed light on that, and that became a national sensation in the late 80s, early 90s. But tying more
Yeah,
along
I'm
to
familiar.
tying more along to this whole thing, yeah. So a lot of that satanic ritual crap was actually going on in the woods surrounding the area. So not too far away from Elkhorn is this Paradise Road, within 30 minutes or so. And there's a heavily wooded area that's regarded to be the most haunted place. And I believe that's where you can definitely feel an energy there. There's a lot of no trespassing signs and whatnot, but you can park right there on the road. And if you listen, there was one time we were just kind of parked and just listening for a while. And you're out in the boonies. You're a good 20 minutes away from any interstate or anything like that. And you start hearing this kind of like cackling, this laughing. And we've heard almost everything out here. There's coyotes, and we've heard dogs and deer, etc. But this was some kind of giggle that was almost coming from a child. And the scariest thing that came out of it was when we started driving away, a doll fell from the tree, must have been tied to a string or something, fell right directly onto our windshield. So not only did we hear this weird giggling out in the woods, but then this doll just right on the windshield just fell. So we get out and we look around, and the only thing that we could see was I was like, there's a little bit of string tied to us, and clearly somebody was hanging this doll. But the weirdest part about it was the hair was completely plucked out, and the eyes were X'd over. So somebody X'd over these eyes and hung this doll. It must have been upside down from the way it fell, because we just started moving, so we were only barely accelerating, maybe 15 miles an hour. But it started making me think, if this ties into like, voodoo, or if this ties into some, I don't really know. I never really dabbled too heavily into occultism or Satanism or anything like that. So I don't really know how deep rooted some of the nature of that stuff goes. But and that's also too, you can't rule out that it could have just been kids screwing around or something too, because
Yeah.
kids love hearing about those areas. And Weary Road is another famous one out here, that the whole road, 2 miles of just graffiti and just nonsense, and just sprayed, death to pigs, and, virgins and all this and that, just spray painted everywhere. Wisconsin's great for a lot of paranormal investigation, because between Jeffrey Dahmer and some of the old Brumder Bed and Mansion and Breakfast, and Ed Gein's old property and the cemetery he used to visit, and the True Value. There's just, it's chock full of stuff out here for paranormal.
Yeah.
So, and luckily I've been able to experience a lot of it just driving around. And but there's a lot of it, sometimes you can't rule out every possibility, but it does make you wonder, and there's always going to be that curiosity of the things that go bump in the night.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do some investigations there, like some cryptid investigations or paranormal, because like you're saying, I've heard so many stories about that state. And it's one of the few states that I haven't actually been to yet. So maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah, even down south, I know that there's a lot that have some really old churches that have some weird histories to them. There's some old battlefields and battlegrounds that the echoes of the pain and the echoes of the the confusion and the sorrow still roam the hills out there, and even some of the old downtown locations have some of those unsolved crimes or some of those historic, you know, some like I said, Jeffrey Dahmer out here, is that luckily that building was raised because people still, you can't go to a concert at the rave without people wondering where it was and wanting to go explore. And the rave pool is, I used to be in bands, and that was one thing was, the rave pool in Milwaukee is supposed to be super haunted. There was a metal band that I was able to sneak down there with, and it was pretty cool. I mean, there's no lights whatsoever, and we couldn't see anything paranormal because they wouldn't stop screwing around. But to get down there, even in that Eagles ballroom, that's like a 150 something year old building. It used to be some kind of health club, and now it's a music venue. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's super
That,
cool stuff. It's
yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming up and talking with us. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Thanks for this is one of the best subjects I've seen on a live. It's nice to see something that isn't like debating if God's real or not. So thank you for
Yeah.
helping keep TikTok wholesome. I fully support it. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I hit you with a follow. It's been cool.
Thanks. Have a good
All
night.
right.
That's what we do here, guys. We put smiles on faces and scare you to the point where you can't sleep at night. That's the whole point. I saw a question I wanted to answer, and I forgot what it was because I keep multitask tonight. I'm tired. Listen, I could not sleep last night. I don't know if it was because of the time change. I laid in the bed with my eyes open until 6:30 this morning, and I was like, this is so frustrating, and then I just blacked out. So it's like I haven't had a whole lot of sleep. I'm a little bit delulu right now. But there was a question that I wanted to answer. Where did it go? Where did it go? Eddie, are you behaving down there in the comments? I'm seeing all the comments from Eddie. You better behave yourself, mister. Uh, is there a troll? I can mod you guys. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where Tully is tonight. He might be busy. And Chris is obviously not. He's not doing his job. So, are you, Chris?
Yeah, I am. Hey.
They're saying that there's a troll. Is it Eddie?
Oh, hold on. I think he's just being argumentative.
Is he? Well, if anybody wants to kick him or whatever, I don't care. Do whatever you guys want to do. Chris, can you mod people? Do you have the powers?
Oh, hello.
You should. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
You got a spooky story?
Oh God, I have so many. I describe my life as a paranormal experience, and yeah, so that was, I mean, honestly, until I started doing like therapy and getting medicated, like I just have had so many paranormal experiences.
Awesome. So, what is your spookiest of spooky stories? That's what we want to hear.
God. So I was living in Chicago when this happened. To me personally, alone, and not one that I had been involved in. If I had the time, I could share them all. But the spookiest paranormal story that I have that really sticks out in my mind is this one time I was just cleaning the bathroom in the first apartment that I lived in Chicago, and I had my roommate's cat, just scratching at the door, and from where my room was, in the apartment. It was a pretty open apartment. I could see straight into my room from the bathroom. And so I opened the door and no windows were open or anything. And I just saw my door fly open. And I think it might have been a different day, but it was also when I was cleaning. Um, I I had like the kitchen light on, and so the lighting was it was kind of dim in the apartment. But I was either like Swiffering, vacuuming, mopping. I don't really remember, but I looked up and just saw a God, what is it? Like a silhouette of like this tall, like dark, like shadow figure. And I have this theory that whatever it was, probably a demon, had been watching me sleep pretty much every night since I had moved into that apartment, because I would always feel like, I don't know, just something watching me. And yeah, the cat always acted weird. I would hear whispering coming from like my roommate's room sometimes, and yeah, it was freaky.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a lot of spooky stuff going on. Holy cow.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I don't think that's my only experience with demons. May I share more?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I think this may have happened when I was 16. So the house that I grew up in, and the one that my father still currently lives in, I'm fairly sure there is a demon, because I remember seeing a little boy with no head, not with my own eye. I mean, I guess with my own eyes, but through like the computer application on my laptop, it was open, and I saw him sitting, like, just not exactly behind me, but like, adjacent to me. And kind of the way I describe it to people that, I know it's not just my eyes playing tricks on me, is because one of my pals had seen that little boy too. And again, my theory is that it was a demon in my father's house, just posing as a little boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So were you before the I don't know if this experience or the apartment experience was first. Were you someone who had never had paranormal experiences before? Were any of these like brand new to you?
To that intensity, yes. Because looking back, it would always feel like there was, all eyes on me, even when I was home alone at my father's place. And I just remember hearing, just feel like I was being touched, growing up, even by nothing in particular. And I would always hear, like, at night, specific cabinets, kind of know when you open like a cabinet that, it's got like spring loaded. I don't know. You open it a little, let it go, and it will kind of like shut on its own. I would always hear that just multiple times over the night. And my room, it was on like the first floor, and there's a basement in that house. And it sounded like it was coming from in the cabinets in where the laundry room was. Yeah, super creepy.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds very, very spooky.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah. Shit, and even like I know I'm jumping story to story, but I so I lived in Chicago in Illinois. I don't know if I mentioned that it was Chicago that I lived in, but I lived pretty close to a popular cemetery, and I mean, sometimes I would walk home from work, and that cemetery would be. I would walk past that cemetery. It would be on my way home, and like I've even seen like creators on TikTok streaming like EVP sessions in that um, cemetery, and just whenever I would walk past it, I don't know, I would always look to it without fail and, think, is there anyone watching me? Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like maybe you're a little bit sensitive to the paranormal too. Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, absolutely. I 100% I think that I am. And I don't know if it has anything to do with, being emotionally sensitive, but I also am a person that is pretty emotionally sensitive.
I think it does actually,
Yeah.
because I'm very much that way, and I'm very, very sensitive to paranormal things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I also wonder if like if someone, no one doesn't have to be a particular person, how like neurodivergent they are makes them more susceptible or like sensitive to paranormal activity,
Absolutely. This is something that I've really wanted to talk about for a long time, but I just never get a chance to. But you're absolutely right. I think that it does play a role. I'm not sure how or why. Well, obviously why, because we're more sensitive just in
Yeah.
general.
No,
Yeah,
I have thought that for years now.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. That's like the bulk of my paranormal experiences, aside from like I wouldn't exactly say like the run of the mill, like, oh, cold spots and feeling like, you know, feeling a non bodied like presence. But that has happened just throughout my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess with that, that kind of covers the spooky stories.
Well, we appreciate you so much for coming up and talking with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming up.
All right.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good night.
You guys are killing me in the comments section. Tully, I think, just told Joel to come up here and talk about how it's a glitch in the Matrix that this banner used to say something different. So I used to watch this live stream called Paranormally Correct on TikTok. Oh God, I told you guys I'm going on not much sleep, so a little bit delulu. Chris, I was just picking on you about not doing your moderator duties. If you can mod other people, if anybody else wants to be a mod, feel free to be a mod. I just feel like it's a burden to be like, I bestow upon you the band hammer. So, but if anybody actually just wants to do it, you can, as long as you're somebody that we know who's here frequently. Just like, I don't know, let one of us know. Like, I guess I could do it or he could do it. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I was just picking on you. Hopefully you know that. I have a terrible sense of humor. It's terrible. It's not very fun. Jason is back. All right. Yeah, very cool story, Cameron. Very, very creepy and ominous too. Oh, okay. Cat Mama. Let's see. I think he's not connecting.
Yeah, no.
Um, okay, I'm gonna drop you down, Jason. If you're still here, feel free to come back up. Did you see the comment about the ghost in my house? I'm sorry, I did not. I am doing so many multitasking things here. Spreading myself a little bit too thin. I don't see Tina. Where's Tina? Um, okay, well I got you, Cat Mama. Um, yeah, positive thinker. If you have any stories you want to share, feel free to come up and yeah, hop in the box if anybody wants to share a spooky story. How about you, Chris? You got anything to share? Any spooky stuff? Any commentary?
Well, I can tell them my UFO story from the other night, and you were actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and Sarah were talking the other night about UFOs and stuff, and it just so happens that I see a UFO in the sky, and because I was outside, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Sarah, there's a UFO as we speak in the sky right now," and I was all hyped up, and it looked like a UFO, and so I was just going crazy, and then it was a helicopter, so that's my UFO story.
Yeah, it has a very sad ending. It's a tragedy. Um, and then it's so funny because then days later he sends me a video and he's like, "Here's that helicopter footage." I'm like, "Which helicopter footage?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you had to be there. Um, all right. Let's see. So, Werewolf says thumbs down. Hey, Joel.
Hey, I was so hyped to hear about this UFO story, and I feel let down. Helicopter?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or was it a glitch in the Matrix?
Or was it? Maybe it disguised itself as a helicopter.
So I got a quick little kind of spooky thing. So I'm in an office building that's really old. It's actually one of the oldest buildings downtown in Charleston, West Virginia. Right back when it's actually the first brick road we had in the state, like when they first had roads. So it's a very old building, and there's actually nobody in the entire building but my office right now. And it's like a populated area. It's downtown, but at the end of the night, like after 5, it's kind of a ghost town, especially where I'm at. And there's nobody in this building. Very big building too. Very, very big. Like it's like 10 stories. And I just happen to have an office that's like on the second floor. And there's not been anybody in here in over a year that I've been in here. So it's pretty quiet. And I was going to the restroom, and the restrooms are like really big restroom, like old school, like several stalls, very big restroom. And it was super quiet, as it usually is, but I usually have music going to work if I work late. But I had everything off this time, and I never do that. So I was walking to the restroom, and I hear something super faint, and I was like, what about it? What is that? Where's that coming from? And I lean up to the vent. There's like a vent. And I lean really close to the vent, and you could hear, plain as day, like some sort of old school radio, or like old school, like TV show or radio. Like I could not place it. Like I just couldn't figure it out. And I was so stunned because I was like, what, where, what floor is this? I don't even understand. And I just assumed it maybe somebody was on another floor, but there isn't anyone. And occasionally you can still hear it, like just certain nights. better than others. And my best guess is maybe that vent goes outside somewhere to somebody nearby. I have no idea, but you can hear it, and it's usually like vintage stuff. Like it's like, I don't know, like it's like old school mid Atlantic kind of. I got nothing there. I have no idea, but it sounds cool. It just sounds really freaky because you're like, you're just listening from this vent, and it's just it's a whisper. It's just like, I don't know, ding 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 ding, and it's very strange, but I have no idea where it's coming from.
Have you ever heard that you used to be able to, like, sometimes if you had fillings in your teeth, you could pick up radio stations and you could actually hear the radio play through the fillings in your teeth?
That makes sense, though. No, I've not heard that.
Yeah, I've used to hear people talk about that when I was a kid. I don't know anybody that's happened to, because I think it was a certain type of filling. I'm not sure what type of material, but apparently that used to be a thing. And it kind of makes me wonder if maybe there's some type of conductor in there where it's an old building. Maybe there's something that's conducting and it's somehow picking up radio waves from. Of course, that would still mean that somebody's playing this radio somewhere, but.
That's a good point. There is a. Just two tidbits to throw out there. The vent that I hear it from is the old vent. Like, it's like from when the building was made. Like, I could see one right now. It's just super, super old. But they have other vents in the building that are bigger and different, and you don't hear anything from those. So it's just from the ones that are super old. And I do know that we do have some, like, local independent radio station. Like, they have, like, an antenna on their roof, maybe, like, 2 or 3 streets over. Like 2-3 blocks over. So something weird like that could be possible. I don't know.
Yeah. Radio waves do crazy things, and then you introduce variables, and it's like, like old materials, and it's like, who knows what could be going on. But yeah, I'm sure that is pretty spooky, though. Like, it just seems like a scene from a horror movie.
Yeah, I never thought about it, but it is loud enough that I could probably put what do you call it? Shazam or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try that next time. I didn't even think about it because it just kind of freaked me out. But I'm going to do it next time and see if I can pick up something.
Yeah, definitely. See what you can find out. You want to hang around for a little bit, Joel?
Sure.
Okay. Get some people in here. The box is getting backed up. We got this one. I'm gonna let this one in, although I'm a little apprehensive because there's no name and no picture, but we're gonna see what they're all about.
Dun dun dun.
They're probably not here anymore. Probably won't connect because it's been a little while. Yeah, they're gone. All right, who was next? I think Philly cheesesteak. You are up. Hello,
Bunny
and
B,
welcome.
you should get up too.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Are you okay with like any paranormal story?
Yeah, as long as it fits into TikTok guidelines.
Oh no, mine aren't that bad.
We get some doozies from time to time.
I mean, technically, am I allowed to share 2? They're not even that long.
Yeah, that's fine. One question though, you're not driving, are you?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's my kid's white noise to put him to sleep.
Okay.
I'm sorry if it's a bit loud. I'm just trying to keep him asleep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and share your story.
I would say it's a pretty short one, but like, I didn't believe in the whole like paranormal stuff, ghosts and stuff, because I hear it's just, it's fake and all. But what made me believe is like, me and my family were all sitting in the kitchen just like talking and stuff like normal like people would. And you know how they had those like little container thingies that you could put like spatulas and stuff in on a counter and stuff? Apparently a spatula had gone like flung across our like everyone's face in front of us and hit the sliding door. I mean, that's kind of what made me believe in it, because I don't understand how the heck a freaking spatula could go flying in front of you. No strings attached or anything.
Yeah. Was that like, you said that's the first thing that made you believe in the paranormal? Was there anybody else there that had experienced anything weird like that?
That was the first time, like, my mom's experienced it, like, a lot of times. She always told me stories about it, but I'd never believed it. But that's kind of what made me believe is I don't know how you would fake making a spatula go flying, and especially when I picked it up afterwards and there was nothing attached to it.
Yeah. Did you have any experiences with that particular location afterwards?
I mean, besides, like, my mom had, like, security cameras up, and the normal thing of orbs and stuff, you would always see them in our security cameras, and my mom would show me all the time, and it would just go right through our cats, like nothing.
Interesting.
I mean, besides, like, hearing stuff move at night, and we didn't have animals at the time, and it wasn't even windy or anything out, especially doors slamming. It was usually my grandpa's house, because apparently, from what I've heard, it's more of a portal. That's why I never go to his house anymore.
I wouldn't either. I don't blame you.
I mean, that's all I can think of besides, like, seeing stuff and hearing names, like my name being called. That's the only thing I could really think of paranormal-wise.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
Thank you. Hope people have a better story than me.
No, yours was good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night. Somebody, let's see. I think Bunny was here first, was she? Chris, you wanna get this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, Bunny.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
Hello.
Oh, I'm doing okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. Sorry, I'm nervous. I've never gone on a live before.
Oh, you're fine. I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm still nervous when I have to talk on here.
Should I
Yeah.
start the story?
Yeah, tell us your story.
Okay. So it was back when I was living at my old apartment. This was kind of located in the Bowling Green area.
Uh-huh.
I don't live there anymore. And I had the place like blessed because there was a lot of like activity that was happening there. So this was like the first like major incident. So I was sleeping and I was in like a deep sleep, and then I started to experience it was kind of like almost like a sleep paralysis type state. And within the dream I saw this entity, and it was like sitting on top of me and like choking me. And so I was like fighting to like get out of the dream, and finally I was able to like come out of it. And as I was waking up, I woke up to 20 missed calls from my mom, and there was an incoming call like from her at that same time. And so I answered, and she was like panicked. She was freaking out. She's like, "Where are you? Like, are you okay? What are you doing? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, I'm confused because I was just like waking up, coming out of that horrible dream. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I was sleeping. And she said that she had gotten a call from me, and in my voice, it had said, "Help me, mama, help me," and then like did a laugh, like in my voice. Like it was my voice, so she thought it was me, but it wasn't me, and I did not call her because I was sleeping. Whew.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Can I ask real quick? Did you check your call log to make sure you didn't like sleep call?
Yeah, there was no calls from me out to her.
Well, that's creepy.
Yeah. And there were like other instances because I had like kept seeing it. Like I had started seeing it then after like physically in my apartment. I had taken some like photographs and stuff of it, so I have like pictures and that. And then I did have like a team come out and bless the property. But yeah, no, I don't live there anymore. So it's pretty horrible. And then since then, if you don't mind me telling another story.
Yeah, go for it.
So in my current place that I'm living now, this was probably, I would say, like last month. So there's like a funeral home that's down the street from where I live. And I was just kind of sitting with my partner watching a movie, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man walking in my bedroom, and it just like, it was like that moment where you're like, wait a minute, like who is that? And so like I like turned and I'm like, hello? And then it just sort of kind of escalated a bit from there. Like I started to hear him like walking across the floors. Like he wore like dress shoes. I would assume like dress shoes, old-timey dress shoes, because they made like that hard like clack 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 sound across the hardwood floors. And then I just like kept getting like woken up in the middle of the night, and I would just like see him like throughout the house, but he's since left. But yeah, so that was really creepy.
Yeah, that's terrifying, especially when I'll tell you, because I've had a lot of experiences with like random apparitions in my house. The first thing I would always think, I didn't immediately think it was paranormal. I thought it was like an intruder. And so that to me is what is like the worst part of having an experience like that, just personally.
Yeah. It's like, who are you? Why are you in my house?
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming up, and I heard you say that you were nervous. You had, I guess, never gone live before?
Yeah, this was the first time I've ever gone on a live before.
Well, we appreciate you coming up here, and you know, your very first live stream is telling your ghost story. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
All right. Do I
got you.
go?
I got you. Okay. Have a good night. Yeah, that's, oh God, that reminds me of a story. You guys know I talk about Ghastly Gary quite a bit. Maybe, do I talk about it a lot? I feel like I talk about it a lot in here. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Well, anyway, I used to live with this ghost. I named him Ghastly Gary. He just seemed like a, you know, like a good old boy kind of guy. So Gary felt right. And he was also ghastly. But he was so active that it was really irritating at times. But I was home alone one evening. My roommates and stuff weren't there. And I was in the back bathroom. So the bathroom off of this bedroom. So all the way at the far end, away from like the back door of the kitchen and stuff. And I heard somebody come in through the back door. And I was like, that door is locked. What is going on? And I'm standing there and I'm listening. And I hear like a man's boots walk in through the laundry room, walk through the kitchen. And it's like slow, like this slow gait, you know, like intentioned, like step, step, step. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a person in my house. Oh my God. So then like, I'm like, do I grab a pew pew? What do I do? And so I'm like kind of sliding around the walls, like trying to peek around the door frames and stuff, because this is like really freaking me out. And I finally get the courage to like jump around the side of the door and look into the kitchen, and there's nobody anywhere. But at that point, I'm still thinking there is somebody in here. I just can't see them yet. Um, there was nobody, and the door was locked. So terrifying.
That reminds me of the exact type of story I had told you before about when I had somebody I thought was actually in my house and
Mm-hmm.
in the kitchen too. And I mean, I could have sworn they were in there, but there was no sign of it.
Yeah. It happens. I mean, and it's like if you have a lot of paranormal activity, I think stuff like that happens more often than maybe people even realize. Maybe people don't even notice sometimes. But there was also another incident very similar to that one where I was in the bedroom and I was on the computer, and the whole house was quiet because again I was there by myself, and I heard somebody snapping a Zippo lighter. You know how like people with Zippos will just snap them open and then like close them, and it was just like open close, and I was like, I know that sound. That is not, I didn't have like a ticking clock in the house or anything like that. And it was just like a very distinct sound of someone sitting and snap. Well, I don't know if they were sitting, but
That's freaky.
you, yeah, just snap, 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 snap. And I was just like sitting there, like, I'm hearing this, right? This is actually happening for sure. And it was crazy. There was nobody there.
That's like serial
Uh,
killer vibes.
yeah. Thank you, Tink, for the heart. Appreciate that. Get Lodge Tales up here.
Hey, Lodge Tales.
Oh, hi everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
So, before I tell a few stories here, I'd just like to make a few comments. Reading the comments and just listening to the show tonight. So, those spirits, they're really a funny thing, man. They're, they're really hard to explain because, for one, there's so many types of them, right? There's so many. And I think the more interesting ones are the elemental type spirits myself. They're really powerful, but they're all really interesting. But a lot of times when you see those shadow people, those those can be real people. They could be anything, honestly. It could be a little person. The little people we believe are spirits too. It could be one of them. They can appear however however they make sense to you. It's kind of like it depends on you is how you'll see them. Some people won't see them at all in their whole lives. They'll go their whole lives thinking, geez, I wish I could see something. I wish I would just show up. I always hear people seeing them, but I never see them. You know, that's what I'm saying. You can never really figure them out. It's like, why does this person over here that doesn't believe in them always see them? I believe in them. Why don't I always see them? They're just weird. They're in all spectrums of possibilities. It's just the oddest thing. I think for me that's why they're so fascinating as well. Is just because of that. And the old building, new building thing, it doesn't matter. It could be a building from 2,000 years ago and just the structure's up, and you'll never have a paranormal experience in there. You go to a brand new house that's being built, and it's full of paranormal activity. It really doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. Like, these things are so random. It's just kind of really depends on you. And like, I don't know what that is about you though. In our way, we describe it as, well, that's on your path of your journey in your life. For whatever reason, you're meant to learn from these things or not learn. But that's your path, and for whatever reason, that this is why or why not you're seeing them or they're coming to you. We just believe like that. It's kind of a simple way of looking at it. But
Mm.
a lot of times when people see these spirits or they hear them, all they're trying to do is get your attention. A lot of times, that's what I've noticed. They're just trying to get your attention. And sometimes they actually need your prayers. They're asking for help from you because they haven't made that journey over yet and they're waiting. Now, I know the way I'm talking, it's conditioned on everybody believing there's an afterlife, and I know everybody doesn't believe that, but I'm just sharing the things that we believe about them. And I've had experiences with them getting my attention. I've had two where they were trying to get my attention, and I just acknowledged them. I'm like, look, I know you're here. I know you're here. You don't have to try to get my attention anymore. And I started praying for them. I prayed for them, and I asked that they can make that journey over, and they eventually quit bothering me. Those two times it's happened, they quit bothering me. And it was consistent day after day. One I called a little house of bangs. It just kept banging in that house, kept banging, kept banging. Would throw the boxes of flooring material around in there I was working on. It just kept, and I knew who that was, and I ended up helping him. But anyways, so I guess the first story I have comes from my niece, and here's one of your, I don't know if it's this is the best I can do with glitch in the matrix type story. It's not one, but so my daughter was driving home. Her mom told her not to stay out late in Browning on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation in Montana. So you make sure you get home now. I don't want you out there driving around late. And here it got late on her, and she started driving home. And as she was driving, she seen this tall, skinny thing. It looked humanoid, but it was walking funny. It would take huge, huge steps. And it didn't look right though. It looked like it was glitching, like shaking almost. Like it was just, it didn't look right. It was shaking is the only way she could describe it. And then she said it's like it was glitching. And it would take these huge steps, and she got scared. She like slowed down and realized, because she stared at it for like 5 minutes. Now she's driving, so she must have like basically went to a crawl and just watched it, but she was still driving because it stayed ahead of her. Finally, she kind of shook out of it after staring at this weird thing for a while. It was almost like it would stagger but take long steps and constantly shaking. Almost like it was dancing too, she said. It was the weirdest thing. So she drives by it. After a while, she kind of gets scared and just drives by it, speeds by it. And when she did, she could hear the tapping on her rear light all the way to almost to her house. It was tapping on her car as she was speeding by. You're only supposed to go like 25 in that zone. She went 40 the rest of the way home, and it was still tapping on her back her back light. So that one right there, she has seen something like it before, and we're both convinced that it's an alcohol spirit because she's seen it following a group of street people, the alcoholics on the street. She's seen it following a group of them, and it was moving the exact same way, but they didn't know it was there. It was right behind them. That, and another one of my friends have seen it too, but he said it just staggered in front of his car after he was watching it move all weird, and kind of it put its hands on the hood of his car and was looking at him, but he backed up and went around it. But he's seen something like that as well, and he only divulged that story after I told him what my niece seen, and he said, "Hey man, I seen something just like that." He said, and he even named the spot. He's like, "Was it downtown?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I seen something right near there where you're talking about, and it was kind of the same thing. It was similar." Okay, and this next story, I usually just fly through these, but I want to put a little bit of context in some of this stuff. So people call them medicine men. That's the easiest way we can talk about it to everybody. So this is about one of them men. Specifically, he's a Sundance man, and that's what we called him. Or like if they have a different, say they had an otter bundle or something, we'd call them an otter man or an otter woman. That's really how it is in the native way. You call them what they are. The romanticized Dances with Wolves version is usually just medicine man. But we specifically call them what they are. Well, anyways, this is about one of them men. And I've always been chilled when I would think about what they see and what they deal with. And, because people say, oh, I want to see this spirit. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And it's like, look, man, sometimes you don't want to. You really don't want to see some of these things. And they deal with a lot because you got to imagine they're trying to, the balance in the world they're tipping it toward the good. So the bad's going to want to come in and balance that out. So they're always going to be testing them, always messing with them, trying to, anyways. And so one night he was in his house and the dogs were barking outside. And so he goes outside and he stands on his porch and he's looking over the dirt road. There's a big garbage can where you could dump, and they come and pick that up with the truck, dump it in and set it back down. It was a huge garbage can. And he was looking over there because that's where his dogs were barking. And finally he sees this man standing there. And he starts looking at that man. And he kind of gets a little worried, thinking, well, maybe somebody's going to try to mess around. So just for safety for his dogs and for himself, he goes in and he grabs his pew, right? And he's still standing there, and that man comes closer, and then he can make it out and see what it is. It's not a man. Imagine a ball of snakes. I don't know if anyone's ever seen a ball of water snakes when they're mating in the water. They're just a big ball, this mass churning ball. That, but shaped like a man, is what it was. As, for lack of a better term, it was a snake man. And it was a bad spirit. So anyways, he's standing there seeing this thing, and it's seeing him, and it starts running toward him at his house. And he stood there, and as it got close enough, it just hit that barrier around his house and bounced back, landed, and it got back up. It tried it again, and he knew what it was at this point. And he says, look, you got no power here. You can't bother me. You need to go away. And eventually it did. It went away. But see, that's what I'm saying. These people, these holy people are our spiritual leaders. They deal with a lot of this stuff, more often than we would think, more often than they share. And one of my friends asked the old man that we used to go around a lot when I was a kid, they asked him, do you ever get scared? He says, yeah, I get scared. He says, I worry about the person that doesn't get scared of these things. What are they, a sociopath or something? I said, no, it's frightening. It's scary to deal with a lot of this. Even the good ones have a way of scaring you, because when I was younger, I heard them talk. I mean, in those ceremonies, I've heard them talk, and it's frightening because there's no way something like that should talk. What am I talking about? I'm talking about an eagle. There's no way an eagle should be speaking Indian, but you're listening to it. It's frightening. It's weird. It blows your mind. And you're a lot of times, I would think you're not even ready for something like that, because you just don't think anything like that could ever exist or does. But it does. And I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just sharing some stories and some experiences here, right? You make of it what you will. So along this kind of animal theme, here was a guy that used to hunt. It was my wife's uncle, and he was hunting in a bad way. So when you hunt in a bad way, you're wasting your kill. You're just killing to kill. You're not even taking that meat or whatever, and you're not harvesting it. You're not giving thanks for their sacrifice for you. You're just killing them and going away. You're not sending their spirit over in a good way. You're just leaving them there to rot. And it's bad. We don't hunt like that. We respect what we kill. That's how we've all been taught. Now this guy has been taught better. Comes from a long line of medicine people in his family, but he was doing that anyways. And so one day he ends up shooting himself in the leg, and he's trying to get out of that brush he's at. He has to get up a hill before he even gets out of there. And so he's laying there in this grass, and he's lost some blood. Could he have been hallucinating? Maybe. I have no idea. When he got back to his dad, which knew a lot of these holy things, when he got back to him, he told his dad, he said, look, I shouldn't have been hunting like that. I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. You guys are right. He says, when I was laying there, he said, all these deer came out of the trees, and they surrounded me, and they were all looking at me. Then they start laughing. They were all laughing at me as I was laying there bleeding. it really scared him. It really twisted his mind and basically scared him straight, right? That that's one of those things. See, people. I heard somebody saying we see people spirits, but we don't see animal spirits. Well, sometimes you do too. And I've had a cat that has passed away, and we've heard him in our room. There's a particular place he used to lay, and he was there. We heard him jump off of there, actually. My wife and I, we felt comforted by it, though. When we moved out of that place, my brother was helping my sister-in-law clean that house out and get it ready for inspection for the landlords. And anyways, we had already moved on, and we left it to her. She signed over the lease on it, so it was theirs, but my brother was helping them. And as he went upstairs, he seen our cat run into the room. So that concerned me because that was way later after he died. And so I went out and I called his spirit. I called him back. I called him to us. I said, you can come here and stay with us if you want, but you should probably go over, my boy. You shouldn't be here anymore. It's time for you to head over. That's what we do. We do things like that. We even call our own spirits when we travel. When we're going from one place to another and it's a long trip, we call our spirits then, especially our kids. We'll call our kids with us too. But so I got another story that I don't share these stories too much, but I'll share this one here. This one has a little bit to do with dreams. Dreams are really powerful too. And let me just set this up. We believe that in our dreams, our spirit goes over to the spirit world. It travels a lot of times. And so a lot of times it's easier for those spirits to interact with us when we're in that spirit world with them. And so that's why natives take a lot of guidance from their dreams. They don't ignore them. There's a difference, what you call a daydream. It's just a dream, your subconscious letting itself out, whatever. And then there's dreams that mean something, the powerful dreams. Okay, so this dream is a powerful dream. And as I was younger, my grandmother passed away in 86, and we had huge gatherings for Christmas. All the family was there, our cousins, our aunts, our uncles, and it was a really happy time. The house was warm, there was laughter. It was nice, right? It was really nice. People that have that don't realize how big of a blessing that all is until it's gone. And I knew what it felt like to not have that anymore growing up. I knew that. And so fast forward years later, I'm married and I'm at my in-laws' place and they're having a Christmas just like that. Hell, even the dogs are happy. Everybody's happy. And so I take a moment and I step back to myself, standing there. I'm speaking out loud, but under my breath. And my grandpa had already passed by then too. And I said, Grandpa, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you right now. And I want you to know that I remember when we had this. And Grandpa, I don't know if these people know how blessed they truly are, but I know how blessed they are. And I just want to thank you for all those happy times when we were young. And if you heard me, Grandpa, could you just give me a sign that you heard me? But you don't have to. I don't know if you can or not while you're over there, but if you can, I'll know. I'll know. And that's all I said. So I go to sleep that night. And the next morning I wake up, the phone's ringing, and somebody's saying, waking me up, hey, it's for you. It's for you. Just before I woke up, I had one of those dreams that you wake up in your dreams, so you don't know you're sleeping anymore. They're the oddest dreams, but I've had several of those. But anyways, it was one of those. So I wake up, I come to, and I'm awake, and I look down at myself, and I'm dressed in this old Indian way from long time ago, and I'm really dark, like I've been out in the sun a lot. Like, what the? All right, whatever. I'm gonna quit acting like that because I got work to do. I was teaching these two boys. One was really young. He must have been about 7 or 8, and one was about 13. And I was teaching them how we run buffalo off of the cliff, and we go to harvest them, but we do it in a certain way. So we have these rocks built up like these pillars shaped like a V. And I'm showing them what to do, and that boy is going to be the one that has the dangerous job that has to lead him off the cliff. He puts on a little buffalo calf robe and he goes off the cliff and dives down and hides out of view so he don't get trampled, and they'll follow and go all off. So I'm teaching him that part. He keeps messing it up. And I'm speaking Blackfeet this whole time, and I tell him in Blackfeet, I said, do you want your family to starve? Do you want all your relations to be pitiful? Well, if you do that again, all of us will starve. Is that what you want? Now let's do it again. And just then I got pulled back. Like I got pulled, like plumb off my feet backwards through the air, flying backwards. The last thing I see is an image of those two boys standing there. And the young boy that I was scolding, he had his hands cupped around his mouth and I could hear him yelling something. And I don't know how I stopped it, but I willed it to stop. And I said, wait, what's that? And I willed it to stop. I don't know how I did it. Then I heard him clear. He was yelling, Appa Skinna! Appa Skinna! Like that, as loud as he can. And then I couldn't hold it anymore. I let it go. And I got sucked back to where I woke up. And it was the weirdest thing because I thought I was already awake. So it was really weird. I was confused and I come to and I said, hey, the phone's for you. And so it was my dad on the phone. And he said, well, what you going to do today? Well, open presents, do this, that, and the other, and make our rounds. He says, well, stop by my house. I said, yeah. I said, Dad, what? I heard something just now. I said, what does Appa Skinna mean? I said, what does that mean? And he says, hey, that's your grandpa's Indian name. It means weasel horn. So I knew my grandpa heard me the night before. And I was always thankful that he let me know he heard me in that dream. But
wow, that's amazing.
I have more stories that I can tell you guys tomorrow. I don't want to, hog up the line here, but I know you do tomorrow, so I'll save where I'm at in my stories, and we'll tell more tomorrow night.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And everybody, go follow Lodge Tales. He does these stories on his channel too, and go check out his channel and give him a follow. And we appreciate you, Lodge Tales, as always.
All right.
That's
Thank
great.
you. Good night, man. Yeah. Good night.
Wow, that was intense. Stuff like that. It's like, it's like, is that just a dream? It can't be. It's too much. It can't just be a dream. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. Death is next. Hello and welcome.
Let me see. Do I have audio right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, for sure. I just want to mention, I feel like because I'm not, as a kid, I think I grew up to be a Christian, so I was just like, cool, okay, what's about Christianity? Like Catholic schools. I went to public school, so I had a lot of public friends. But I think my point, I want to say is this: I think the reason of demons not actually like attacking people or like scratches or whatnot, I think it's more of like a domesticated, how we decimated cats, dogs, and from tigers and wolves. I believe it's like a very similar case. I feel like they just check up on us just to like, oh, is this guy doing what I need him to do? Or like, yeah, I feel like it's just that. I feel like, because in the very end, if I know the Bible correctly, it does say that they have a grand plan and shit. And like, so I'm just thinking all these interruptions are like, anyone who gets, like, I think that man mentioned people who don't believe in it see it, and people who believe in it see it. I believe it's something like that, like a domesticated type of, I think they're trying to like, yeah, I have stories, but like my stories kind of like bizarre because I just like living a peaceful life. So every time I go into a house, I just like to cleanse it. So basically, I went inside this Pacific house, and it was more of a, I think it was more of like a, if I'm staying here, don't touch me or don't do paranormal activity. So it's like no, it kind of it kind of spooked out my family because my family blame me for it. There's a metal door, like there's two doors, like a wood one and a metal one that people have in their house, and I guess the garage had a metal one. It whipped up all the metal, like it bended it up like a U, like it just messed up the door. You couldn't close it no more. And so since then, it just handprints from the walls, like just little shit, but it's mostly to like distract me. I think the most recent thing that happened to me was that it got to like I don't think it could really do anything to me. I don't think so. But I had like 10 people live in my house 2 months ago because they needed somewhere to live, family members, and they saw some shit. They pissed me off actually. They texted me on my phone, "Hey, there's someone outside the house." I'm like, this camera is just show me on the camera. No, they're like trying to break in. So I go outside. There's no one. And so it's basically like I feel like myself. I'm personally fine with demons. I feel like I'm like personally. I don't think I'm gonna die. I made a deal with God that before I die, God would just send His chariots down and pick me up. But since that's the case, I don't really care about demons. It doesn't really bother me. They can't anyways. I have God in my heart. All in that, all above. So people in my family that don't have God, it's kind of like it gets to them easily. Like I can't see a demon. No, fuck. I wish I could see a demon. That'd be pretty cool. But it pisses me off when it shows to them and the family talks to me like oh this and that and like they say some weird shit, but it's only like because of that scenario. So it's kind of like I feel like they're just domesticating my family. I feel like my whole family just like being domesticated by these creatures of the unknown. And I'm just over here just like dealing with the family. Because honestly, demons in real life, I see like I think I followed this one guy who he used to be like a Catholic knight. Like his family used to be crusaders that used to kill zombies or witches or whatever. That sounds like fairy tale stuff. But like reason I bring that up because I don't see no one killing zombies or like the closest thing to it is like what? Lillian Lowen going to Annabelle doll and doing shit like that. So I'm just assuming that uh there's no one really attacking these demons and they're pretty much just happy about that. Like I don't really think like people could I don't think that man said I pray for them. Like yeah, you could pray for like spirits like that. But I feel like really like bothering people, I feel like they're not physical. I feel like they get through people around you and shit. I think that's
Death. I have a
what's up?
question.
What's your question?
Are you serious or is this a troll? I'm sorry, but
I'm
I'm
like,
I'm lost.
serious.
I'm totally
What
lost.
makes it a troll? No, okay, for sure. Nah, I'm trying to explain my little shit because I'm like a low key like a demonologist, and I like I have a lot of I'm in LA, so there's a lot of like shit. You see a lot of shit here, so I have like a. I'm just trying to like explain like no, most of these demons are like they just check up on you guys like if they're not causing physical harm, they're doing something very specific. They're not I think when I talk to Satanisms and people like that, I think people get misunderstood what Satanism is, but it's not like it's more of a yeah. These demons have a specific plan. They're not physical. That's why it's like
Yeah, so Satanists are actually atheists who troll Christians. Satanists don't believe in Satan. Now
correct.
I
Yeah.
personally have met people who are practicing worshipers of a dark entity or deity or whatever. And a lot of times they refer to themselves as like Luciferian Satanists, but realistically, they're more closer in alignment with atheists as well. But I don't think you have to worry about demons bothering you. Like I tell everybody, the paranormal is not scary, and I've been chasing demons for many decades, and I ain't found one yet. So I'm willing to bet that they ain't out there bothering nobody. If I can't find them, I don't know. And I've tried. So, but listen, we really appreciate you coming up, and
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think, yeah, hang out and listen to some more stories if you want. But thank you for your time.
Definitely.
Have a good night. Um, So everybody send some likes. Our likes are really low for like how long we've been on and how many guests we've had. The likes are pretty low right now. Get some more likes going. Get some more people. We still got about an hour of the show left, so we definitely want to draw in some folks. Uh,
I got lost
Satanism
on
is,
that one.
yeah. I don't know. This may not have been the right stream for that. Satanism is not about indulging. It's just about living your life and being a decent person. But realistically, it's atheism. You're just an atheist. If you're a Satanist, you're an atheist. It's irony. It's just like ironic. An ironic name, I guess you could say. Oh, um,
What's so funny?
there we go. I went to click on Ali and it disappeared literally just as soon as I clicked it.
Hey, Ali.
Hi. Actually, I was gonna accept it and I was just crazily tapping away. So that's what happened. I went to
Well, we
another line.
appreciate the tapping. Like Tully says, if you ain't tapping, you must be napping. So,
Yeah. Well, today I have quite a spooky story for y'all. This is something in relation to, I would say, I wouldn't say my childhood. It happened pretty much like, well, before drinking age. Let's just say that. Because I quite frankly remember that. Now, this is something in relation, I guess there was somebody over here that was Catholic. So, Saint Dunstan, I guess. I think I'm saying that right. One of the saints in the Catholic faith was having I think, a similar issue about having been visited by a dark entity. So on and so forth. I forgot that story, but if anybody knows that story, please comment. Um, it's just my brain's dead with the daylight saving times. Well, the story is actually a cabin in the woods kind of story, and not even in the woods. This is something around Lake Charles, Austin, and I thought nothing of it because I was about 19, 20, actually. This is like after my first year of college. And so I was there with a group of friends. We were in an an old friend. We went to their family's lake house. Yeah. So it's not, that, kind of deep in the woods. Yes. Texas. Yes. Lake Charles? No. Lake Travis. Sorry, not Lake Charles. Lake Travis, Austin, Ox. Uh, it's been a while. So yes, Lake Travis, Austin, the lake house is over there. So we were over there. We were just celebrating. We were just having a weekend, right? And again, we weren't gonna go out boating because, well, shit happened and it rained. And so we were all getting, drunk. We're college kids. We're getting a little, had some herbs. Anyways, so we were there. We were enjoying our time. And suddenly, the storm just kept getting bad. And it was around late night. Sorry, not that late. Yeah, it was because I can't remember. It was a little past midnight, and I was sitting with another friend, or a couple of friends, and we were just like zoned in on the TV. And I quite frankly remember hearing a knock at the door. Yeah, a knock. There's a big old doorbell, mind you, a knock, and like a knock that was like a good three big thumps, not like a regular human knock, like, hey, is anybody home? Like, like the pizza guy coming. I'm talking about like a thump, 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 in sequence. And it was three times. And that is when, like, who answered the door? It was Luciana. She's working with me as a nurse now. Luciana is opening the door. She's one of our college classmates. She's from the frat. No, not the frat. The sorority girls. So and it's her place. So she opens the door. It's her grandmother's place. And before she opens the door, we're all like, "Hey, don't open the door. Like, we don't know who it is. It's stormy outside. Answer, like, who is it? Like, ask them." And so then, like, her drunk butt says, "Okay, who is it?" And there's no answer. But then again, 3 loud knocks, right? And this time, like, I'm looking from the couch and it kind of seemed the door was shaking. She kind of jumped. So she's like, "Okay, we have a door locked. Maybe it's someone who needs help, or maybe it's one of the neighbors' kids. So let me open the door." She tries to crack open the door, right? And they have this, the door lock, the chain ones. There was a couple of them. So that was on there. So here's what happened as she was cracking the door, and I kind of got up at this point trying to help her, and another friend came with me, thinking, what's going on? She opens the door. As soon she hasn't even opened the door fully. It's kind of cracked, and we hear a voice. All it says is, "Hey." Um, I I was like, what was it saying? Hold on, let me try to recollect. I was like, "Can you help me?" And it was like a deep voice. "Can you help me?" Okay. And she kind of opens the door, and I was like, okay, it's probably someone who needs help. Let's open the door a little bit. And we crack open the door, and I see, like, now the chains are there. The wind blew the door open a little. Like, it was a huge storm. Like, it was a lot of rain, a lot of lightning and thunder, and the door was opening a little. The lights, like half the lights in the house went off at this time. Half the lights in the house went off. Half, mind you. The kitchen area was all still good, and the door area was good. We could not see the outside at all. Everything outside from that patio was shut when that door blew open a little. We kind of jumped a little, but we had whiskey, so we were okay. So, like, "Hey, are you one of the neighbors? Like, what do you need?" He's like, "You can say that." That's all he said. When we questioned him, like, "Are you one of the neighbors?" And they're like, "You can say that." And okay. So, we have our girl asking, "Hey, what do you want? Like, what do you need help with? Your car breakdown or something? What's going on out there?" And so, I mean, the guy that I kind of see the crack, I look a little bit, and it's a very tall man. The guy is wearing maybe a hat, like not a cowboy hat, I guess, but trench coat and everything. You couldn't see his face, and the hat was covering his eyes. All he asked for, and this is the strangest request, was a little bit of refreshment. He said, "Could you spare something?" Not for a tool, mind you, not for some oil or anything, something that you'll need for a car or something like that, or not even for a telephone. He just asked for something very simple. He asked for, "Can you spare some food? It is cold out here. It is very drenched out here. Do you have something to spare?" Okay. Now, yeah, we're all freaked out at this point. So we ask him, "Who are you?" Again. I was like, "We might have something. Who are you?" Yeah. So he didn't really answer. And then I was like, "Okay, Lucy, go and grab something. I guess he wants something to eat. Like, just go grab something." mind you, we're teenagers. We have a lot of food, right? We're like binge eating and stuff like that. So we have stuff. And I was like, something's not right. We don't feel right. We feel cold. Now, suddenly, everything feels very, very cold in the bottom floor. We have friends upstairs. They're sleeping or probably doing something. Two of them are knocked out on the couch. There's only four of us, and then I have another friend, Chris. He's like, too high to get up. Not you, Chris. Old Chris. Too high to get up, and like literally just like knocked out. And it smells odd at this point, and I'm thinking it's coming from the outside. So my high and everything is gone at this point, and I'm over here with Lucy. I was like, "What is going on? Who is this person?" And she's like, "I don't know, but I don't feel right. Like we can't like let anything in." But he's asking for something. What do you think? Should we just give him something? Should we call the cops? I'm like, I think he's just asking for food. Let's just give it to him. Like, what do we have? So there was some like salted bread, like a whole bread thing, like butter bread, like French bread. That's what it was. It was like French bread loaf. And I guess we gave him some ham, and jerky. So ham jerky and whatnot. And we were like, okay, let's give him some water. Maybe he needs some water. Um, and we made a little bag, and like a Walmart bag. We put everything in there, and we're just like, okay, here you go. And she was not trying to like give him anything, right? She was like, I'm afraid. What if he reaches out and grabs me? She's like, can you do it? And then I'm looking at my other friend Jordan. I was like, can you do it? And he's like, he just looks at us and he starts to like tear up. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? Screw it. And I did. So I did. I braved. I don't know where I got the courage from. I don't know how I did it, but I went to that door. The two others were right behind me. And I'm just like, please, God, please. Because I'm a guy. So let me do, this thing. But I was hoping nothing was going to snatch me. So I was like, sir, here you go. Here's some food and refreshments, and stay blessed. I hope you're okay. And so, I'm careful to, when I'm like, putting it out there, I'm careful to like put the bag through the crack of the door, and to where he can just grab it and not be able to touch me. So I do that. And so we gave him the stuff, and the thing is, and yeah, probably not a homeless man, because this is what I saw. What I saw was, black in his eyes. I did not see white. I saw it through. He lifted up his head a little bit, and it was kind of like dark in his eyes. But here's the bitch of it. The middle part was black. On the iris, there was a glow, right? You would think it was a Hat Man. And at that time, I didn't know what the hell the Hat Man was or any of this stuff. But then he put his head down and he asked, why did you do this? And I was like, why are you asking me? I'm like, in my head, I was like, why is he asking this question? I was like, I did this because you asked. It is something necessary. And then this is where I got scary, right? He said, you don't know who I am, in a deep, deep voice. And I'm like, no, or who are you? Are you one of the townspeople? Are you a neighbor? And then he continues to go. He's like, your mercy will be remembered. That is what he said. He said, your mercy will be remembered. And he has boots. His boots have, they're like cowboy boots with the whole, the kicker and everything. You can tell this coat that I'm looking at is not right. Like, where did he get this? It wasn't from like this century. Anything. This is very, very old. And his mercy will be remembered. And Cindy, I will get to that because you know what? It was a couple years until I figured it out. So as he's walking away, he turns around and then the lights just flicker. This is where lightning happened. He is now all of a sudden 30 feet away. This is past where our car is parked. He's 30 feet away. And the lights are now shutting off. All the lights went off. There's no lights at all because the second lightning strike happened real close and everything just went away. Right? The third lightning strike, before the third lightning strike happens, this gentleman turns around to look at me because I'm still, for some stupid reason, three of us are looking through that door. We're still looking through it. And he turns around, and when the third lightning strike hit, it was no longer this guy in a trench coat and a hat and like cowboy boot. There was nothing but two eyes and a hooded shroud, like as if it was death. A hooded, like in a hooded guy. That's it. That's all I saw. Figure, hooded figure, two glowing eyes. And that's it. After that, he went away. He just disappeared. There was a flash of lightning. And that's where my eyes looked up. I was like, oh my God, I hope we don't get hit. And boom, he was gone. No trace, no nothing. That was it. That was it.
I was thinking when you first said that he come to your door and wanted refreshments that he was going to ask you for sugar water. But after hearing the whole story, I'm now convinced that, well, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was probably aliens. Maybe.
Could be. But here's the thing. What reminded me, and I wish it were, but something else gave me a very, very bad vibe because it didn't end there. So, mind you, nobody noticed at the above the door there was a horseshoe. There was a horseshoe above the inside of the door. And this was in the morning because when her Lucy's mom came to come pick us up and everything, like, hey, because I live in Houston with her and she's gonna come and grab us for the summer. And so all in all, there was a horseshoe there, and I'm gonna tell you. We weren't trying to go outside. It was the morning. Three of us didn't really sleep well. And we were like, okay, let's look for signs of the boot or something. Nothing. Nothing. Where's the bag of food, right? Nothing. Then we didn't figure anything out. That's fine. We're loading the car up, everything. Here's what I saw and what Lucy and Jordan, all three of us witnessed something. The last place that man was standing, the last place before he just disappeared, all we saw were two cow's feet prints, like cow footprints. That's like a cow was there, like that. That's what we saw. And we explained the story to Luciana's mom. And so Lucy was like freaked out after we saw that. We told her mom everything. Yes, there were hoof marks. I don't know. I thought cow because I thought maybe that's how big it was. I don't know. So, and mind you, there's no farms around us. We're like luxury cabins. So we tell Luciana's mom about this, and Luciana's mom is kind of devout in her practice, and she's like, if you did not give anything after a long lecture, she's like, if we did not give anything, we would have been cursed. Something bad would have happened to us. And that was basically, she, in her perspective, she said we were visited by the devil. And because of our mercy for the devil, the sympathy that we gave, and we didn't know who it was, we were like forgiven or whatnot, something like that. We were all, mind you, freaked out. And the story continues, kind of like rounding into the family. Lucy is like, closely going into a mental ward kind of a state, 3 hour drive back to Houston. So we're just like looking at each other and everything. We're just very quiet. This was a fun weekend and it turned very gloomy and very quiet. And a lot of prayers, because the first thing that we did when we came back to Houston is we went inside a church and to just get cleansed. That's it. And to this day, I am, there's times that I think about that night. And this happened maybe over a decade ago. And here's the deal. The same kind of horseshoe that was like the same style, the coloration and everything. The horseshoe that was inside and above the door in Lucy's lake house. Randomly, and this is why I'm telling you the story, because just today, randomly, as I was like doing my regular walk, and this is a glitch in the matrix kind of a thing for you, Chris, because that same horseshoe, I don't know, like the same thing, the same words, same color, same luck, was some random place in the park. I just passed by it. I saw it on the floor somewhere, like on the base of a tree as I'm walking. And it could be an illusion. I'm not saying it's not an illusion. It could be. Maybe that was what I get for exercising. But that's what I saw. And suddenly something just, made me think of that as I'm walking. And then the way I felt, I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to go home. And so I just went home. And I have not been able to forget that night. That today, after many years, I'm remembering that night. And I'm like, what did he mean when he said that? That your favor will be remembered. And so I'm like, what is he like following me? Is he watching me? Which goes back to what was his name? Death guy was saying. That they're watching you or something like that. I haven't really shared this a lot because I don't want it to be, oh my God, like he's cursed or something. I never felt that way my entire life. But neither any of us too, me, Jordan, and Luciana, we work, in the same city. We meet up, nothing's happened. We've never really talked about it. It's just all of a sudden today, in this like 10 a.m., I felt that way. And I felt that way very strongly. My question was he there? And why was a horseshoe there? The horseshoe is meant to protect you from the devil. That's the Saint Dunstan, um, story, that the horseshoe above your door protects evil from coming in. But why did I see this random ass horseshoe that I've seen before? And I never seen that kind of horseshoe again. So there was that, in a random place. I didn't go touch it. I just looked at it because I stopped and I was like, what? I looked at it for maybe like 20 seconds and I looked up and just kind of like went back, like continued my walk. And that's how, like, today my hands were kind of shaking. And I'm not a really shaky person. So I turned up the candles, blew on some incense. Coincidentally, it's a new moon. And also, it's like Ramadan is starting or something like that. There's some major celebrations starting. So there's a celestial event happening up there. So we don't know exactly. I don't want to conclude anything personally. Like, Sarah, you're saying I wish it were an alien, and I hope it is. But what is going on there, right? And my nature, as told by a lot of people like shamans and other magi's, is that that like in between, like 5 years ago, I was just having a conversation. I was told by elders that my nature is just that. Like I have sympathy for dark, and then I understand and acknowledge the light, and I stay in the middle. And that's how I am. Like, hey, a devil can come in, they really want something, they want to eat. You can be at peace and eat at my table, and I can have the angels eat at my table. Just no one fight at my table. Y'all eat, have a share, and you go about your way. And so that's why, maybe that's why I have these dark entities, and every time I have an interaction with dark entities, it's never like overpowering. It's always like acknowledgement in a way. Like I see you, you see me, I know you, you know me, and then that's it. There's nothing more if ands or buts about it. But there can be a lot of stories about this. This is the first time I'm breaking it like in a mass public forum. So you guys tell me what y'all think. And if anybody else has had a similar almost like dark biblical experience, I mean, I'll just say it. The devil knocking on your door. Anyone else had that?
Well, that is chilling. And it kind of made me think of a story that I did a video on not long ago about Devil's Run in Tennessee. There was a legend in this holler down in the Smoky Mountains uh, about people seeing some horse rider on like I forget if it was like a new moon night or whatever, and they chased him down, caught him, whatever, flipped him off his horse or tried to, and he kept running. He got away from them, and
Mhm.
um, God, I can't recall how the story ended, even though I made a video about it. Anyway, it reminded me, it reminds me of that a lot, which is, it's, I don't know, it's really interesting.
Yeah, what is going on with these coincidences? Because you're telling me this, and this is the first time I'm ever hearing about it. And you said something about the new moon, a dark night, right? And then
Yeah.
this has happened, that happened, maybe it happened back then. I can't remember. I was 19, 20 at that time. I can't remember what, the moon looked like up there.
Yeah. It
But,
would be interesting to know. Like, is
if
there
it,
any way that you could track down maybe what date that was and like look up what the moon phase was? Because
it's
that might be.
maybe I should, maybe I can, maybe there is something that, if it's heaven or hell, like, there is some sort of breadcrumbs there, and any deity work, whether you're pagan or not. As a magi, what my studies have told me and what I've been taught, there are breadcrumbs, and Lodge Tales was saying the same. There are messages in your dreams. Dreams mean something. So experiences sometimes like these can mean something. It's just, you're human, you forget about them. And all of a sudden, 9, 10 years later, here we are. I'm just remembering it and like through my spine. And that's why I just felt compelled to share with y'all. But yeah, so this is something of a homework that I want to do. I don't know if I want to do it now because it's 12:24.
Yeah.
And I want to be asleep during the devil's hour, but I want to I'm not having no knocking on the door today, but I will kind of like wake up in the morning and like, yeah, cuz this has been on my mind all day. And it's a spooky, chilly day today, and it's supposed to be a very celebratory day with the family and everything. And it's just I've been off. And it could have been the time change, but I bet you it was everything was fine except that morning walk. In the middle of that morning walk, everything just kind of like made me just in my head. And my mom has been asking too. She's like, "Hey, like, are you okay?" I'm just like, "I'm fine. I don't know. I'm just in my head. I'm thinking about something. This is what I've been thinking about all day." So I'm just gonna figure out what it means. I'm gonna probably do a little bit more due diligence. Please, anyone, everyone, what you think this could mean, go ahead. I've asked some of my elders what it could have been, and one of the elders, like a witch elder, she tells me that that's just basically hell owes you a favor or something like that. Like whenever you're in trouble, even the dark will come to your aid. If so. So because you had that kind of sympathy, and I'm like, probably I'm a sympathetic person. That's why I'm a psychologist, you know. So um could have been, but you know what? I don't really regret it. Food's food. Everybody kind of got to eat. I feel bad. But
Yeah.
what was the message, you know? What was the
Yeah.
message? What is when all of a sudden why now? What's going on? So I'm going to be looking into it, and yeah, Sarah, I'm going to try to look at that date. It's going to be awkward because now to figure it out, I'm going to probably call the other two to figure this out, and it's going to freak them out. So this is going to be a fun little Monday conversation.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely got to let us know what you find out about this whole situation.
Yeah, we'll do. I mean, luckily tomorrow I have a half day. I'm just working from home, but Luciana, Lucy's a nurse in the same hospital that I work at. So she has a shift tomorrow, only a morning shift, and I'm gonna I'm gonna tell her.
Well, we
Thank
always
you.
appreciate you. You always have the best stories. And yeah, definitely give us that update. Don't forget.
I will give y'all an update tomorrow.
Alrighty. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Bye, Ali.
Thanks.
Wow, that's crazy because it immediately made me think of that Devil's Run story. I don't know if you guys watched that video. I've noticed that a lot of people who watch my lives don't watch my videos that I post, and then sometimes they'll pop in and be like, "Ah, I didn't know you even made videos." Like, yeah, a little bit, you know. Uh, so yeah, if you guys like stories like that, you check out some of my videos too, you know. But wow, interesting.
I'll tell
Chris,
you
Joel,
some.
you,
I'll
go
tell you
ahead.
something that popped in my mind when and he was talking about a stranger at the door, and um, there were some similars in the idea that had happened. So I'll tell you this. It's not really a spooky story, but because I kind of figured it out, but I'm still not really sure. But I work really late, and I park my car out front, and there's nobody really downtown. I think I mentioned that before. In the middle of the night, and sometimes I'll work literally through the whole night, and I'll leave at like 4 in the morning, and which is kind of an odd hour. And I'll order food. I'll order like a pizza or something, and I'll put it outside, um, and because like there's homeless that'll walk through, and I never put this two and two together, but it took a really long time. But I used to get. I would go back to my car at 4 in the morning, and there would be like a flower there, with like a really nice rose. Like I don't know where you get a rose like that downtown. There's not something like that around there, but it was right there under my windshield, and I was like, "That's so strange." I thought maybe it was somebody I knew, and then it happened the next night, and then the next night, and then I was like, "Okay, I need to figure this out." Like I was getting freaked out because I was thinking like, who do I know that's like stalking me or like
Sorry, I'm
playing a
sorry,
weird
dude.
prank? So then, I went to, I decided to go to the door around 2 or 3 in the morning, which is the time I kind of thought that it might happen around that time. And sure enough, there was a guy standing there, and he was just dead already facing me, like in the middle of the road. And I was so confused because like it's like he was waiting on me, but I'd never seen him before. We'd never seen each other. He had no idea I was coming, and I walked straight outside, and he walked straight up to me, and he handed me a rose, and he goes, "Give this to somebody you care about," and then just walked off. Never saw this guy again. Never seen a rose again. But I just thought it was so strange.
Well, that is strange.
What
Very
was
strange.
what was upsetting was I took a picture of it, and because it was on my car in the morning, and I was genuinely thought it was just somebody I knew, and my girlfriend was pissed because she thought that that somebody was messing around. But yeah.
Yeah, that would freak me out quite a bit, actually. All right, guys, guest box is open. We got about roughly 30 minutes before we call it a night for our Sunday night gathering around Sheep Squatch, the spooky stories. Anybody wants to hop in, tell a story? In the meantime, Chris and Joel, I expect you to have some good spooky stories for us. Actually, I thought of one. I thought of one earlier and now forgot what it was. I was going to tell one, but I forgot. I hate when that happens.
I went to Walmart earlier. That's a
That's
horror
terrifying.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a Sunday? Yeah.
Literal hell. How do I not have a Loch Ness Monster thingamabob? I just realized, I was admiring all my little cryptid emojis down in, totally posted them. And I was just thinking, wait a second, I don't have a Loch Ness Monster. I think I had a Loch Ness Monster at one point.
So,
and it didn't look right.
I'm not exactly sure I know what Hat Man is. I never really heard many stories of that. What's that?
Hat Man is... Last time I tried to explain this to somebody, they were like, wait a second, that's not what you said a minute ago. Okay, so obviously nobody knows, really. But there are multiple camps of belief when it comes to Hat Man. It may or may not be a shadow person who wears a hat. It may or may not appear in your dreams. You may see it in person. You may see it in your dreams. Basically, I think it's just a shadow person. And I think maybe, I don't know, maybe they all wear hats or maybe none of them wear hats. Maybe they just have weird shaped heads. I'm not sure. But we get a lot of Hat Man stories on here.
So the only Hat Man, the story I can refer to, or even what I've heard of, is usually referring to like when they're talking about like I don't want to say UFO or alien sightings, when you have like these kind of humanoid people that come pick up the pieces or do research or find the people, they're usually wearing a hat, like an old 1950s style hat. And I've heard many stories like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that would be more along the lines of like the Men in Black trope or something. So, looks like we have somebody in the guest box. Hello and welcome.
Howdy.
Hey.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Oh, y'all can't see me, can you?
You got a spooky story for us?
It's not really spooky. It's more like amazing, I guess. I mean, obviously, you can see by the background what I do.
Oh, I remember. I think you were on here. You were on here before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Talking about my wonderful son who passed from cancer and who's always with me. Yes. Always with me. Who inspired me to do what I do, and what I do is kind of taken off with my horror stuff, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
So what do you do?
I make very unique things. Like, well, here he is. Here's my hero. I make very unique things, mainly out of wood, but my whole house is horror based. Of course, I do coffins for haunted houses, but like I said, everything in the house I make and is horror based. So, well, except for these guys, my little high five guys. High five.
So, do you sleep well or not?
Yes, I do. I sleep very well, but I spend most of my time in my craft room. It's like my go-to. I never had a creative bone in my body until my son passed in my arms. So now here's what I do. Like, it's hard to go slow. Like for instance, this guy. Don't ask. Or like tree barkers, Mr. Barkman, if you can see him. Or
Barkman.
Mr. Barkman, Limu Emu, and Doug. I know it's very different.
You could have a museum.
Oh, it pretty much is. My Freddy houses, those go well. I mean, I personalize things for people because you can't go wrong with the personalized gifts. See, when I see wood, I see different things. I make things. I don't know. And I like my horror houses, not horrors. Horror, it's hard to say. Just different things. I don't know. I basically have a few drinks and make birdhouses, but they're not their normal birdhouses. It's a little morbid, but
Show that closer. I can't really see it.
right now I'm working on Michael Myers' house. If you can see it, I can't see. Can you see it? I can't.
Chris, I think this would be a good time for you to jump in with your Michael Myers stuff as well.
Yeah, here we go. There's the Michael Myers.
Man, I love Michael Myers.
They call me Sid from Toy Story.
That's amazing, though.
Thanks. People love, like, these are just Jenga pieces right here. And then a Barbie doll with some extensions, and then bam, you got the ring girl.
Nice.
Just different creative things. Yes. It keeps me busy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you do great work, and we really appreciate you sharing your story with us and showing us your amazing artwork.
Thank you. It's all because of one boy who saved many people. Everybody's always like, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm very sorry too, but I'm also very proud. So,
Right on. We really appreciate you.
thank you. I love your background. Like, what? Who is that?
Yeah, that's Sheep Squatch, formerly known as the Goat Man of Pope Lick, but now he's Sheep Squatch. So
Sheep Squatch. I was wondering because I love how the under torso is. I love it. Sheep Squatch. I'm gonna write it down. My favorite is the Mothman. I love him.
yeah, both are from West Virginia, incidentally.
Yes. What? Sheep
And
Squatch?
Joel is, Sheep Squatch is a West Virginia cryptid, and Joel is actually from West Virginia. Joel may be a cryptid as well. What do you think, Joel?
I'm gonna look up Sheep Squatch. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll actually have a video on it coming this week or next week. So if you're interested in Sheep Squatch, I'll be talking all about it.
Sure will. I'll definitely check it out, man. Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, well, we really appreciate you. You have a good night.
Y'all too. Mwah.
Bye.
See ya.
So remember when that guy was on here and he was roasting your the creature in the background, saying that the legs were like too skinny?
No.
Oh yeah. I see that.
No,
That
I
looks like
don't,
a
Chris.
It does kind of look like a Muppet.
A
I'll
Muppet?
fix his legs. I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, good evening. I've been listening to you for a while. So I got sort of a story. I'm originally from New Mexico, and I worked at Toys R Us in Albuquerque. And when I first got there, my manager was, giving me the tour of everything. And then when we got to the part where we had to go upstairs where the inventory was to get the overstock, she wouldn't go up there. And I told her, well, aren't you going to show me? And she was all like, well, no. And I was all like, well, she was, I don't want to scare you on your first day. And I was all like, no, tell me. And then so she was all like, well, one day I was coming down and she was all, someone pushed me. So she went tumbling down the stairs. And so she'll never go back up there. But and I was like, okay, so that really didn't, I was like, okay, as long as it doesn't happen to me. Anyways, so um my fiance at the time would he he could see ghosts or see spirits or whatnot. He said he could see things. And he had, his thing. But I personally, I don't see anything. And so one day, so anyways, let me tell you back to my manager. She told me that there was two ghosts or spirits there. One was a tall guy with a cowboy hat, she explained, and a trench coat that had pushed her down. And I was like, okay, and then a little kid, like maybe a 9-year-old that would play in the store. And so one day I was in the baby department. It's like in the corner of the store, and I was stocking some diapers, so I'm like way in the back. And he happened to come and bring me lunch. And I peeped around the corner because I was right at the edge, and I was on the ladder at the top, and I told him, well, come here, and he wouldn't come. He was all, I'll meet you outside. And I was all like, okay. And I had never told him the story about what my boss had said. And then I was all like, why wouldn't you come? And he was all like, he was all like, he was all like, there's someone evil standing next to you. And he told me, he goes, he had a cowboy hat on and a long trench. He was all like, whatever you do, don't mess with him. And I was all like, and that just like shocked me. And I was all like, because that's what my boss had explained. And I had never told him that story. And then I was all like, and then I told him what happened. He was all like, yeah, it's there. He goes, and then one time I worked a graveyard shift, stocking at nighttime, and toys would go off in the same aisle. Like, I guess it was a kid playing, but I would never see them or feel them. But whenever I'd go to work, I would always say, good morning, don't mess with me. I wouldn't mess with you. And also recently, so I, well, that was like maybe like 20 years ago, but like a year ago, I used to work at a naval museum. And so we would have ghost hunts. People would come and do ghost hunts there and stuff. And we had what do you call them? That can see, hear, and speak to them. I'm not too sure.
A clairvoyant?
There you go. Yes, clairvoyant. And she was about 15 years old. And so we would split up in groups, and, I was hanging around. I was at the end, and she was with me. And then she would tell me that a little boy was, following her and whatnot. And then I was all like, and I just had questions because we were like on an island, and I was all like, oh, since you can talk to him, I had a question, and she was all like, he can hear you, so just speak. And I was all like, okay. And so I was all like, since we're on the island, I was just curious, can you travel across? This is in Texas. Can you travel, from Pelican Island to Galveston? Because there's water in between. And he said that he couldn't, and that he was trapped on the island. And this was from the what is it, the great storm that they had, you know, and that's when he had died, and that he was like in an orphanage and whatnot, but that he couldn't travel. And I found that interesting, and that he said that he sees me all the time. She was telling me that he sees me all the time, but I don't see them, but they watch me when I used to work there. So I thought I'd just share that with you. It was just interesting, but because the little boy, it was funny because the girl told me, he said that I was blind because I don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was all like, okay. I mean, I believe there's spirits. I believe there's ghosts. You know, I believe it all, but I don't have that experience, you know, of seeing them. Like, you know, going back because I was listening to you guys about the hat and the coat. You know, that brought back memories. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then some people, you know, they don't see them, but they believe them. Well, that's me.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just share that with you.
Yeah, that's a spooky story. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye.
Spooky indeed. Those are my favorite kind of stories, actually.
Yeah. Rest in
Hey,
peace, Toys R Us.
Oh, what
yeah,
is
I got
it?
a question. Yeah, have you ever heard of? I never know what to. I want to know what you guys think on this. You know, like clairvoyance. I don't know. Like, I guess it's kind of a loose term, but the one that's it's a guy driving around and he's all over TikTok and he's like, he'll pick somebody up in a car and he'll like tell them something scary about
Flavor
them.
Town. Is it Guy Fieri?
No,
No.
no, no. Wait, what? No. They're not
I don't
going to
know.
eat. He just he just tells him like story. He's like an Uber, but like he'll tell you like something really important, and they're basically down to tears. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna drop you off now." And I'm like, "Oh, no, it's not cash cab, but it's something like that."
Why did you say that so confidently, Sarah? Hey, what was that risque show on HBO with the taxi? Anybody remember that? In the
Yes, I love that show.
Well,
I do. Actually, I do remember that.
I'm so
Taxi
sorry.
Cab Confessions. Yeah, Joel,
Oh,
go
there you
ahead.
go.
Go ahead.
No, I mean I don't remember. I thought that people knew who he was, so if you don't know, then it's not going to help. but
No, I don't know.
But he's like a famous kind of medium, and he'll like tell stories. I was just curious of what your thoughts on like famous mediums that like have these kind of claims. Like if it's just for a story, if it's just like fake, or is there any you believe any of those? You think they just get info on people and and rev it up, or say vague things to try to reel somebody in and play off of their emotions? Rough.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing is like I want very much to believe in psychics. I really do. And I am genuinely open to having conversations with psychics but they're never open to having like a unfiltered, frank conversation with me. Because they always get like really mad. But they go to a lot of great lengths to set up stuff, like especially if it's televised, if it's a show. If it's a show, you know right there that it's not, on the up and up. If it's like social media stuff, I don't really see a lot of psychics on social media for some reason. You would think that I would, but I don't actually ever run across very many. Except like John Edwards. is on TikTok now. That's kind of weird, but it's entertainment. It's
Yeah.
entertainment, and the thing is like I'm pretty sharp about people manipulating information out of me. And I've talked to a lot of psychics because, like, the old days of the radio show, and it's crazy how they'll fish. And like you can just lie to them without ever really saying a whole lot, and they'll go with it. And so I don't know. I'm always open minded to paranormal stuff and things like that. But realistically, like you have to be kind of objective about it.
So
And
so what about so what about people that are and again, these are like loose terms, but like clairvoyant that don't claim to be a psychic or talk to anybody specific, but yet and they're not necessarily claiming that they're speaking to the dead or see the dead, but they may see visions of specific things that were actually either in the past or have, I don't know, they have some kind of validity off of things they see that are relatively true. I
yeah.
guess that's the closest I can call it. But have you heard many of those?
I think that some people probably do have clairvoyant abilities. I think it's possible. Like I always say, I'm a big believer in the power of our mind and our brain. Um, so I think that there's a potential for it to exist, but do I know of any right off that I feel are convincing? I don't know. I'll tell you another thing that kind of goes along with this. I was actually just thinking about this today because I followed a palm reader here on TikTok. And I love palm reading. I love the aesthetic of it. I like, the history of it. It's part of the occult. I enjoy it. I think it's interesting. And I got my palm read one time on a whim in Tennessee, driving down the road, and I see a little shack off the side of the road with a sign above the door, and I'm like, bang a Huey, go back. I've got to do this. And I go in there very guarded and I say absolutely nothing to this girl. And anytime that she's like trying to ask me questions that I thought maybe could be leading questions so she could cold read me, I wouldn't give her an answer. And I'd just be like, I just kind of shut down, like, oh, yeah, I don't know, you tell me. She absolutely nailed it. She nailed it. Like, she told me about the radio show. She told me about my writing. She told me weird stuff about me. And I was like, this is weird, super weird. That's like the first legit palm reading I think I ever got. And I didn't say anything. I didn't, even when she was like nailing it, I didn't verify or deny. How do you explain that? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that the abilities are out there, but I think the people who are eager to capitalize on these abilities, they lose my trust almost instantly. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, I don't know. But who cares what I think about it? Like whatever. It's fun. At the end of the day, I think that's what's most important about it is it's fun and it's exciting and it kind of, you know, just adds magic into an otherwise dull world.
I've I've paid for a couple psychics on TikTok just for the fun of it. I don't really believe
Really?
in those kind of things, but um, well, I kind of have a little, I wonder, but it's just fun, and they're usually way off. And same thing, they're fishing for info, and they're like, "Does this have this? Does this seem familiar? Does this seem, So it's easy to see that they're just trying to fish. I'm kind of curious, do they even, some of those people, if they even realize what they are doing, you know, like maybe
Yeah.
they're not trying to actually dupe you or something. They're just like, this is how it works.
Hmm. Yeah, no, no, that's actually a good point. I never, in all of the times that I've spent time thinking about this topic, I've never considered that maybe they don't even know that they're fishing. Maybe they think, you know?
That's just the process.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Mentalist is a curious one too. I see that comment there. It's also a gray area of like, I don't know what you would call mentalist versus, all these others. Psychic, mentalist, clairvoyant.
Yeah, mentalist is not something that I know a tremendous amount about. Very limited knowledge on that particular topic, but yeah. So Julie is back. Yes.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
So you guys were talking about the clairvoyant. So let me go back to the same girl. So they did a scenario type of thing. So we had like living history. Like I told you, I worked at a naval museum. It was Galveston Naval Museum, and so and actually Longhorn Paranormal was there. And so they were giving the tours, one asking questions. And so she had this little setup that she wanted to do a little experiment with her. And prior to that, like we have living history where actors come in and they reenact, the time of the war and whatnot. So prior to that, about a week, so she got a little history on that. And basically back then the story is there was a guy, and he had what do you got, appendicitis, and he needed surgery, and he was like way out in the water, so it would be like a week before they could even get back to shore. And basically, the captain asked the doctor, can you do it? Because back then in World War II, you could not do it. You couldn't do you couldn't do surgery. They weren't allowed to. Okay. And, just bandaged you up pretty much. And the captain asked him, can you do it? And the doctor said, yeah. So he made shift all kinds of stuff, equipment, and he actually did the surgery. So during that night, we had one of our coworkers that didn't want to be on the tour, but his wife was on the tour, and she had him lay down on the table, and to be the patient, and she had the clairvoyant girl, pretty much be like the doctor. And she's talking and telling everyone the story, what was going on. And then she's all like, we got to start now. So basically, she said that the doctor was actually there from that time and telling her what to do. And to top it off, my coworker's wife was next to her being the assistant, and she was a real life nurse. And so doing all this, so she's doing all this stuff, wrapping, everything and whatnot. And at the end of this, she says that the doctor patted her on the back and told her, good job, and he left. But at the end, the nurse said that there's no way she would have known this, the procedure, the wrap that she was doing, because she had no medical history. And everything. It was just it was crazy, because he even got up and he was feeling like he had just had surgery. I thought it was so funny. I told him, are you going to call in for, sick leave tomorrow? But it was amazing though. She had no idea, and then it was to the T of everything that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crazy that the doctor from back in World War II came back and told her what to do. So I thought I'd just share that with you.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for telling us about that.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Stuff like that is very interesting. Very, very spooky. And we got Ali.
Hi, I'm
Welcome
back.
back.
So, just wanted to reiterate. So Sarah, just to give y'all some cues on the kind of readers, if y'all ever want to truly have a reading. Now, I've had friends, even certain family members, ask me to do palm readings or even do card readings for them. I do have the skill set. I've learned. I only do it ever for myself, and I deny 99% of them. And only because, like, whatever they want to ask, they're never going to get those kinds of answers. And I'm just too much of a hypersensitive, so I would never do it. So if you ever come across someone like, they're like, "Hey, can you do a reading?" And they say, "You sure you want to do one?" They kind of like push you away from knowing. Those would be the possible established psychic readers or practitioners, I would say, that know what's probably the consequences of certain things. Because sometimes people ain't ready for some answers. But yeah, I just want to throw my little 2 cents out there to kind of like weed out the people. Usually, if you're not money hungry and they just kind of want to do it pro bono to help, yeah, I guess. And that's pretty much in my practice. That's what I do very, very rarely. But no, that, like, the real deal, that's just too much energy. And you're opening yourself up for too much. And you'll pass out. And I have passed out several times. Even if I'm like just doing it for myself, I've passed out during divination because it just took too much out. So, and I really don't need chocolate cake to recover right now. I have to get off of that. But I found out the date.
That was quick.
Yes, I just got.
Oh,
Backtracking. I was
you're off the app. Come back.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I was sorry. I hit the phone again. I was 19 and it was May 2nd, 2011. And I remember that kind of like weirdly back because I don't know, I was just like looking through my phone calendar and like my photos, and I got a photo of when we were like, hey, back in the day. I found a photo on Facebook, and I was like, that was it. It was May 2nd. It was a new moon, but it was just raining that entire week. It was finals week, and it was a weekday.
But it was a new moon.
It was a new moon. I was like, huh. And I just researched it. It was a new moon that day. It was like the second day of the new moon. So you'd have like the first day, there was like, I don't know, the first, second, and third were all new moon days. So, oh my God. Yeah. Now I'm freaked out.
Spooky. Yeah, that is a little bit freaky.
Yes, it is. So, I'm going to be doing some protection around me, and I just want everybody to just, throw a little prayer and say good luck, because what rabbit hole that I just opened myself into. And I got scared, so I just put it out publicly. And I'm doing this honestly because as a medical professional, I'm being honest. Yes, I got scared right there, so I'm going to share it. Yeah.
Wow.
So
what are the odds of that though? Like that's kind of like, ooh, wow.
And then
New
this is
moon.
gonna probably go to Chris. Hopefully you can figure some sort of answers out. Is this the glitch in the matrix that you've been talking about? Because the conversation I'm gonna have tomorrow afternoon is going to be really gonna shake some past trauma. And yeah, so I'll give y'all an update as to what goes on further with the conversations if I get a hold of them. I can get a hold of Luciana. I just don't know if I can get a hold of Jordan if he's out of town or not. But yeah, it was a new moon, and today's a new moon. Shit. Okay.
So strange.
Yeah. Why me?
Joe, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, no, just adding some spooky sounds.
Oh, okay.
He's just
What
doing
sounds?
sound effects.
All right.
All right. Well, good night, guys. I was just like, I was like, wait, I found out, and then I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Sarah, here you go.
Yes, that's so crazy. I'm glad you come back and told me that. That's like I'm just thinking of so many things right now. But yeah, definitely keep us updated on what you find out.
Yeah, I'll dig it in. I'll dig into it a little bit. Just wake up, do some emails, and oof, I'm probably gonna be up tossing and turning all night about this. Lord have mercy. Nope, I'm gonna take a sleeping aid. I'm not waking up at 3:03 or 3:30 in the morning. Nope. Mm-mm.
There you go. Get you one of them Walmart melatonins. Those things will knock you for a loop.
Yeah. Plus bourbon. Let's go with that. One of those nights.
Yeah, there you go.
Good night, everyone. See y'all
Good
tomorrow.
night.
Good night.
See ya. God, what are the odds of that it was a new moon both times? You all think that's weird? Because I think that's weird. That is wild. Chris, you want to get the next one? I'm going to go release the Kraken.
Oh my god!
I know you hate when
that.
I know you hate it. That's why I say it. I'll be right back.
It sounds. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kraken.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't want to. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Hold on, let me bring up the next guest. It's Harry. Hey, Harry.
Hey, Harry.
Hey, I didn't even know I went live. I didn't know I requested.
Oh no, it was an accident.
But I can. I don't have any stories to tell right offhand. Other than I did see a shadow figure here the other day in the house, but that's almost an everyday thing.
I did too. Like a long time
You want
ago.
to tell us about that?
Shadow.
It was just
I see a shadow in the abandoned room, and
me and my nephew were in the house early. We were playing Xbox and saw a shadow down the hallway zip across, and he saw it too. So it wasn't just me.
But this time, but the thing is, the time I seen it was a long time ago, like before this.
Yeah, we've had problems with well, not problems, but we've seen a lot of shadow figures and stuff in the house.
Oh man, it sounds like you guys have a shadow person infestation.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I mean, I've heard my name whispered. I've been touched. Things go on and off on their own. I caught something on a picture. I took a picture of my horses, and there was something behind them. It looked like two people in a wagon, like an old, like a, in the 1800 style wagon, horse and stuff like that. It was cool, not seeing it there, but caught it in a picture.
Did you send that to Sarah by any chance?
No, I've been looking for it to send it to her, and I haven't found it.
Oh, okay.
I had it in my old phone. When I changed phones, I lost the picture, but I thought I printed it out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, what have you been up to?
Just hanging out with our shadows around here.
Hanging out with the ghosts. That's the thing to be doing.
Yeah, I must have accidentally hit the request. He brought me up.
Well, we're glad to see you, and hopefully your ghosts are doing well.
Yeah.
I know you've got a bunch.
Just kind of bopping around.
Yeah.
Maybe the shadow ghost pressed it.
There you go. Yeah, the ghost is like, let me on there. I got a story. Tell you guys a story.
Yeah, we've been playing Red Dead Redemption tonight, so that's what we were doing. Now the next thing I heard him, hey, Harry, it's your turn.
Nice.
And I was
Alrighty, well,
listening to you guys and stuff while we were playing.
yeah, that's cool. I like that game a lot, actually. It's a good game.
Yeah, I beat it once. This is the second playthrough.
Yeah, this last time he played with good honor, and now he's gonna play with bad honor.
That's my nephew.
Man, can you believe the horse dies at the end, though? Like, how horrible was that? That ruined the whole game for me, because I love those
Yes.
horses.
Spoiler.
Depends on which ending.
It's not a spoiler because the game's been out for like a
Spoiler.
billion years.
Well, not. I didn't. This is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, it's been out for quite a while. Everybody ought to know by now.
There's a lot of people just now starting to play it, though.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
everybody was kind of played it to death already.
I just beat it not too long ago.
Well, the horse dies, just so you guys know.
A lot of horses die.
All right, Harry. Well, we'll let you get back to your game. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming up.
All right. I always have fun listening to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Well, I think we are out of people. What is it?
I guess I won't play that game.
Oh, Joel. Joel.
There's more to it than that.
Can tell you some more spoilers. I'll just spoil everything right here, right now. Let's just put it all out on the table. We got one more person. I was going to call it for the night, but we do have somebody in the guest box, so very cool.
Oh, it's Robert. Hey,
Hello.
Robert.
Hey, hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay. This one, it was when I was probably about 12 or 13. A buddy of mine was having a sleepover. There was a group of us that all went. It was for his birthday. And he lived out in a rural area that like everything was pretty much spread out, and his family owned probably about 30 or 40 acres of land. So we're out there and we're having a good old time, and it's getting a little bit late in the night. For some reason, being 12 or 13-year-olds, we decide, let's go for a walk. So we gather up everybody. There's probably about 7 or 8 of us in a group, and we start going down the dirt road. And he had a couple of dogs that went with us, and I'd say it was probably about 11:30 at night. And we're walking. Like I said, it's out in the country, so there ain't any lights out there, anything like that. And we're probably about half a mile away from the house, and the dogs take off into the brush from the side of the road, and we can hear them running through the brush, and we figured they're probably just out there chasing after something, rabbit, maybe a hog, things that are normally out there. Then all of a sudden, we hear the dogs barking like crazy, and then we hear a yelp. And the next thing we know, one dog runs past us, going straight through the group, headed off towards the house. And then a couple seconds later, here comes the second one, and they're gone. Well, we don't really think much of it, but we know that, hey, if something scared them dogs, it's probably not something that, we really want to mess with. So we're talking amongst each other, and we're trying to decide what we're going to do, whether we're going to keep walking down the road or if we're just going to go ahead and turn back and go around. Well, we decided that, hey, let's go ahead and just keep walking. Well, about the time that we start heading down the road, we hear something off in the brush. Sounds just like something walking along the brush with us. It's what is it? It's shadowing us pretty much. So we stop and we listen just to make sure that we're hearing what we're hearing. And I've got a little old battery powered lantern. It was a brand new thing back then, but it wasn't a very good light. So we're listening to this thing as it's creeping along the roadside along with us, and then we hear a rumbling growl. It's not like something we'd ever heard before. It was very deep, and it almost made it feel like it was shaking your bones. Well, that's when we decided to go ahead and turn around, do the smart thing. So we turn around, we start heading back towards the house. And as we're heading towards the house, we can hear this thing tailing us. Sometimes we hear it behind us. Sometimes we hear it to the side of us. And other times we'd hear it in front of us. But it never really got to where it would be visible with the light of the lantern. It always seemed to stay outside of the light. Well, we're probably now about 200-300 yards away from where the drive is to get into the house. We can see the lights for the front porch. And all my friends, being the brave people that they are, decided to hightail it as fast as they could out of there. I'm not the fastest runner. I'm on the larger side, so of course I'm not going to be very fast. So I'm at the back of the pack. By the time they hit the front porch and are running into the house, I'm barely coming up to where the driveway is from this dirt road. And I decide to turn around and look, because while we're running, you could hear this thing as it's crashing through the brush going alongside us. You can hear it's breathing hard, it's panting or huffing, whatever you want to call it. Well, when I stop and I turn around and I hold the lantern up as high as I can above my head, trying to get a good look, all the noise just stops. And I'm waiting, and I'm looking, and I'm trying to look through the darkness. All of a sudden, out probably about 10 yards from where I was at, I can see something move. And I can catch some glow in the dark from the eyes as the eye shine hits where my lantern is. And I don't really know what this thing was, but it stood up, and it was massive, especially to me, being, like I said, 12 or 13. And, well, it just kind of looked at me, and I looked at it, and it turned around and just walked away. And I slowly made my way back to the house, but I never turned my back. I kept looking to where I had seen it disappear last. So I don't know what it was, but I'd never heard of Dog Man or anything like that. This was, I don't know, I was 30 years ago. So I'd never heard the terminology Dog Man, and this is in Texas. But that's the one thing that comes to mind when I hear all these stories that people talk about.
Yeah. It does sound a lot like a Dogman incident for sure.
It was fun. I gave my friends a hard time for leaving me back there so I could be the lamb for the slaughter.
Yeah.
I appreciate you letting me come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
There you go, Sarah. Dogman story.
Yeah, that's the first one we've got in a while, right?
Yeah.
Dog man.
He needs a theme song. All right, guys. Well, I guess we will call it for the night because, yeah, gas box is empty, and I feel like it's a pretty good night. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, good as always. Hey, I got something I found just now. I'm going to send you later.
Okay.
I told you that story about that haunted hotel and where Point Pleasant is. I found that picture of the guy in the bunny suit looking over my cousin. I have no idea who that was or what that was or why, but I have it. I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. Oh my god, I can't wait to see it. All right. Well, thank you all for coming tonight and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. I hope you all had fun. Hope you all had. I hope you have nightmares because it was so spooky. I hope that you're scared when you go to bed tonight. Because that's what it's all about, is getting spooked on here. We will be back tomorrow night at about the same time, about 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll do the second part of the weekly spooky story stream. Hope you all can join us. Go show some love to Chris and Joel for being the best co-hosts. And don't forget to, if you haven't followed me already, go ahead and follow, turn on post notifications so that you get notified when I go live. There was something else I was going to tell you. Oh yeah, and I make videos in case you all want to see some videos about spooky stuff. Go watch some videos. They are overkill. You'll like them. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow night. And have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo!